training. Do not try this at home. I'll be using this plastic hammer to simulate a knife. That'll be mostly good for stabbing or light slashing. So this is a stand-in for an actual knife. It'd be good to have a hard plastic training knife. I have a lot of small knives that are too soft for repeated stabbing combination practice. Now this is a Fiskars K40 knife. Kind of a small, compact knife. And it's roughly the same dimensions. This is a little bit longer. But this can be used for practicing doing impact training as a point with something that won't hurt the dummy. As long as I don't go too hard. Gotta be the neck with a stab. I had to go light on this. Practice stabbing combinations. 1, 2 neck, go for the eye. There. 1 stab here, 2 stab under the rib cage, 3 stab to the neck. See, 1, 2, 3. 1. This here. 1, 2 on the rib cage, liver, 3 to the neck. As I said before, don't try this at home. They broke. I will use this now. This is a mover knee. I use this with the sheet. And I'll keep it light. Now don't try this at home. Stab, slash your neck. I have a TikTok. I mic out TikTok. I also have a Rumble. Critical Mass Mic is what I'm calling Rumble. And Mike's 89. Mike's 89 on Instagram. This is kind of like a hack, where one of the things I like about Cold Steel as a knife brand company is if you find a knife that you like a real knife, weapon knife, they will have a training version with the same dimensions. So if you buy a Cold Steel Recon Tanto, you can buy a Cold Steel Recon Tanto training knife with the same dimensions, which is good. You want what your trainer was to be as close to the original as possible. Now, you can use things that are far from the original and still improve, but there's an advantage to having a training knife that is as close to the real knife as possible. So I have this here, for example, this is a training knife and the real knife. So this is a cold steel recon table, somewhat modified, customized. And here is a recon Tanto training knife, which I bought on Amazon, I think it was. Now this is a knife that's better for sparring and not for impact training. So this is an all-round training knife that can be used both for knife fighting, shadowboxing practice. But if you're going to be practicing knife fighting, especially if you're starting out practicing knife martial arts, I recommend you get training knives and don't use an actual real knife. Especially starting out, you're more likely to have accidents. So it's never 100% safe, technically, to be wielding a knife close to your body. So don't try it at home. Now, it's especially dangerous if you're starting out, like if you buy a knife and then like unsheath it and start practicing shadow boxing with it or something like this. It's especially risky if you're just starting out. Okay. So anyway, this is a cold steel recon Tanto, and this is a cold steel recon Tanto training knife. Now this is more suitable for sparring, knife fighting, sparring training than impact training. So it can be used for knife fighting, shadowboxing training, and knife fighting, sparring training, and it's suitable for that. It's not as good for knife fighting impact training. And impact training is a classification, like a category, divided things. So impact training means, as opposed to knife fighting, shadowboxing, where I'm practicing like a boxer would with shadowboxing, and I'm practicing attacking with the knife. That's knife fighting, shadowboxing. Impact training is not using the knife to practice knife fighting like shadowboxing, but you impact with some of the techniques. So you can do knife fighting, shadowbox with a training knife like this, like a rubber training knife, and you can practice as soon as you understand the guard, and then drilling, attacking a certain way, this way, for example. Here's a combo, slash to the head or the neck, one, go down, and then stab here to the liver and the rib cage. As a combo, you can drill that combo from a mirror, starting out to learn that combo. See here, and it can be here too. But slash to the head level, ultimately the neck, slash, followed by a stab to this side of the body. So that's knife fighting, shadowboxing, or you can do with a training knife, knife fighting, shadowboxing, where you're moving in and out. And then do all kinds of stuff. Now, impact training means I'm not doing just knife fighting, shadowboxing, I'm impact with something. If that would be a tree in my backyard, if I had one, or a dummy or something like this. So this is a rubber knife, and it's more suitable for either shadowboxing or sparring. Because if you're sparring, especially if you want to go close to full speed with your attacks, if you're sparring, if you have one of these more rigid training knives that are like hard, stiff plastic or wood or even metal but blunted, one of these stiff training knives, they're better for impact training, like practice on a tree or something like this. Now for sparring, they're not as good because it's more easy to hurt your sparring partner. For example, if you're practicing here and you have this, you're not close to distance with a full speed upward stab like this to the torso here. If it's with this, even like a full speed attack to the rib cage, it will bend and it's unlikely to break the ribs. And you're less likely to have injuries in sparring if you do full speed or close to full speed stuff. It's like you're practicing moving in, stabbing to the body, and you're doing it fast. It's like a stab to the body. With this training knife, it's rubber, so it will bend, and it's not going to be as likely to like dig into the liver or break a rib or something like this. So anyway, this is good for sparring, knife fighting, sparring, and less risk of an injury to opponent, sparring partner, if you stab to the rib cage. And if it would be a stiff, rigid training knife, it could still break a rib. And if you hit here, so it can dig further into the body. So like a liver, dig into the liver like a liver punch. So this is more suitable for knife fighting, shadowboxing, sparring, and not as much for impact training. So anyway, it can still be used. So this is the training knife, and this is the actual knife. Cold steel recon Tanto which is a good knife. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to tape this because I don't want to have tire marks like this black rubber marks on the dummy as you see in like a school tennis court, no, basketball court or something like this, where you have these from people's tennis shoes, this like rubber for the soles, and then it leaves these tracks. Okay, they're very hard to remove, so this gives some more slipperiness. So just duct tape here, and with this I can do light knife at impact and with reverse grip. So for here, here's one attack, and it's cutting the neck, the reverse grip, this grip. If the neck's available, cutting the neck, you can cut both the windpipe and the corner over with an attack like that. Now, like I said, why is this not that suitable for knife fighting impact training? This knife, this is more like a 2/3. Okay, so if you divide like what I want to be able to train knife fighting, I want to be able to train sparring. If I have somebody come over like a bag or something like this, and I invite, hey, let's do some sparring. I want to be able to do sparring with a training knife. I want to be able to, as part of knife fighting training, practice shadow boxing when I'm doing shadow boxing. And I want to be able to do impact training where I'm actually hitting an object, impact with my techniques, and not just doing shadow boxing. Now, this training knife does 2/3 of it well, meaning you can use this and it's well suited for knife fighting shadow boxing, and it's well suited for knife fighting sparring. But one of the third, the impact training, it doesn't do that really well. Why? Well, for example, if I'm building knife fighting combos with this grip, and I'm practicing stab here with the reverse grip, followed by a stab to the neck, the first impact makes the knife become like this, see? And that's what you want for sparring, because if I'm practicing sparring and do that, and I do it a little bit too hard or something like this, and I hit my sparring partner's rib cage, it's less likely to break the ribs. If you hit with a stab, and okay, if it be a rigid training knife, more likely to break ribs, okay? So for this, that's what you want for sparring, was like you do a lot of practicing distancing and timing and practicing kind of slashing and like poking lightly and things like this. But here with knife fighting impact training, here, notice what happens when I hit it, it bends. So a cold steel knife is strong and durable, okay? And they have a reputation for that. And thus far they haven't like lost their reputation. So Cold Steel is a brand that has like a reputation for making rugged knives that are not easily breakable and can withstand a lot of punishment, like stabbing things. Part of Cold Steel marketing is like extreme marketing, where they have like a new knife that they're advertising on the YouTube channel, and it could be like the leather neck or something like this, and a lot of times they'll demonstrate the product. They have like an ammo can and they stab repeatedly into the ammo can, like they cut a rope with a folding knife, they put in a vise, and it has like a thing bending it to show that it doesn't break until like this degree or something like this. So anyway, it's the point. Cold steel knives are known to be rugged and durable knives for outdoors activities and also for weapon knives. Now here's the point, where's it getting at? So with this here, if I go, see, okay, now I hit it the same target zone, but it's less realistic, because if I'm aiming to stab to the liver and the rib cage, and I impact with it, this is impact training, stab there, it bends, and now my point of aim is completely different. See, it's like zeroing, like if you think about firearms, that if you fire and your optics, like you fire once and then the red dot like jumps over here and now it's over here, see, it doesn't make for good training. If you have like a optic for a firearm when you're training sports shooting or something like this, and you shoot once and the red dot is unzeroed and like goes over here, because now if I'm aiming right, okay, if I'm like, meaning as long as it's straight, if I'm aiming right, I can like get the eye, if I want to like train poking the eye, getting into eye socket with stabs. If my aim is right, I can stab it. Now if I hit it, it bends, which means if I aim right again, since the blade has bent, the right aim, it will still impact here rather than here, say. So I don't want to over-explain it too much, but this knife does 2/3 of knife fighting training well, sparring and solo shadow boxing training. Now the third part, which is important, will be impact training, which is you're doing impacting. So I've been talking about this, making free coaching, teaching people how to improve the knife fighting skills. And part of what I've been recommending is you get a training knife, okay, and you start with like doing basic stuff like learning different stances and guards, and you practice attacking different ways from those guards. You practice grip changes, like a grip change drill. It's like you have this grip, you learn the two main grips, and you get good at that. You learn this grip, and then this grip, which is a good strong grip. Augmentation of that grip is with the pinky at the bottom, which makes it more secure of a grip for thrust, stabs with this grip, the regular grip. And then this is the inverted grip, or like reverse grip, I call it, like regular reverse, where the thumb is on the back, which makes it better for stabbing. If there's sudden resistance, like hitting a hip bone, if you're aiming for here and you hit the hip bone, there's a lot of resistance on this, even if the knife design is strong enough to withstand that, and the tip won't snap off, something like this, and the blade won't bend. If you don't have the thumb here, you're more likely with like sudden intense resistance to have your hand slide on the handle. So anyway, the point. So this is a grip that you can learn, and then this is the regular grip, this is the reverse grip, and this is an augmentation of the regular grip. See, the regular grip is here, I call this a regular grip. And then if I just go further down on the handle and put my pinky at the bottom, that's the inversion of this grip with the thumb, see? And what does this do? Having a finger under the bottom of the handle, it gives me more assistance for if I'll be stabbing into a tree, for example, or human bone, where it acts as like a backstop, the finger there, either the thumb or the pinky. And also it can give you a little bit more range. Now you have less stability like this if you have your hand further down, generally. So if you have it here, you have more stability sideways. Now if you have your hand further down, you have less stability because it's more like leverage. So if a force is applied here, it's more leveraging. So that's the point. Regular grip, this, reverse grip, this. Augmentation of regular grip, which is this, with the thumb at the back, is putting your pinky at the bottom. And certain knife designs, there's like knife-specific grip techniques. So for some daggers, for example, you can have the grip, this grip can work well, where you have the thumb on the side of the blade and it's sharp on both sides, and you can slash like this and keep track of the edge alignment. So you have the thumb here, you can cut here and here. I think that was part of Fairbairn Sykes, what's it called? Gotta find this guy who taught fighting with he had a DVD for like World War II or something like this, how to fight with knives. It was a Dagger, I think that he recommended this grip possible, meaning having the thumb on the side of the blade. Now, so there's some grip specific. Some knives, for example, have a so-called skull breaker, okay, where this little hard steel tip or like whatever, metal, that you can hammer fist with, and it makes hammer fist attacks more effective. Meaning if I have the knife here and I can slash if the distance is this, okay, it's good for slashing. If the distance changes and it's close, it can be an advantage to have your hammer fist attacks be more dangerous, where you're creating puncture wounds or like breaking bone. You're causing more damage with the hammer fist if you have like the skull breaker at the bottom of the handle, which some knives have. It's like if you close, for example, then you hammer fist to the forehead, it's like you're creating cuts and possibly breaking bone with your attacks there. So, and also obviously you can, like something that's sharp and pointy, if you like hammer fist here and you're dragging it, you still creating like a wound there and an opening in the skin. So it's a point. Now, an advantage, there are some advantages to having a skull breaker tip at the end of the handle, which some knives have, like fighting knives have. The Recon Tent is more like an all-round knife that can be used for camping and chopping wood, or kind of like a good all-round knife outdoors, survival use, meaning being out in the wilderness and chopping stuff and cutting sticks. And it does big knife stuff pretty well. But like you can use it to chop, okay? You can use it for cutting sticks and things like this, for minor work, finer work, small work. You can use it for bigger work like chopping into a branch or something like this. And it's something that's strong enough where you can like pry with it and like stab it and wiggle with it and things like this, do prying stuff if you need to. And it's also something that could be used as a weapon knife. And what's like a knife that's made to be good at sharper wood a lot of times would be good as a weapon knife if it's made to be durable, be able to withstand repeated impacts against a hard object. There's bone inside the human body. So a lot of times in knife fighting, you're trying to not hit bone is what you're trying to do. Now the focus not don't hit bone. The focus in training is hitting parts of the body that are softer and easier to penetrate and have like vital, like a target-rich environment. Target-rich means there's a lot of major blood vessels, vital organs in the area. So for example, under rib cage, you have like lungs. If the knife is long enough and it goes up here, see, it can go all the way to a lung here. For example, if you look at this, like so, here's the bottom rib, okay? And if you enter in there, if you think this is on the inside of the body, it's long enough to get to the heart area where there's a lot of big blood vessels going radiating out from this area. I have a lung somewhere here, okay? So there's a kidney, what's called liver, a liver here, there's a lung, and then there's a heart here. So inserting the blade under the rib cage, a lot of times what they're trying to do, what stabs to the body. Meaning when you train a knife fighter martial arts, you're practicing hitting under the rib, between the hip bone and the rib cage, like the bottom rib and the hip bone. Meaning it's like a non-bony area that goes from roughly here to here, and it's not that big, like right here on this side. So a lot of times it's entering in here at an upward angle, straight, okay? So it's not like aim, try to not hit bone, the focus is trying to hit this one spot that you've thought about before doesn't have bone, okay? Similar to boxers where it's intelligent, where it's not just like point firing, like, oh, I touched with the tip of the hand at once, that gives me a point. No, say, what are you doing with the attacks? And there's certain places that you're doing more damage if you stab to this area than this area. So a stab to the neck hurts more than a stab to the shoulder typically. So if a body's in front of me and I have this grip here, and I'm gonna do a hook, okay, and hook to the neck, I'd rather hook to the neck, like if you're looking to create more damage, stabbing to the neck causes more damage than stabbing to the shoulder, which is also teaching you about knife fighting defense, where last on defense, if there's a stab coming to your neck, if you do this, it's like boxing, that could make the stab enter into your shoulder rather than into your neck. Now that's not the fighting style, where it's like you present yourself to your opponent and then wait for stabs, and like your defense is like catching the stabs when it's part of your body. But as like a last line of defense, it can be used where it's like, if something's coming towards here, this can be part of what you're doing. You're moving out and you're raising your shoulder like that. Also grips, like you can have the knife here, which makes it more dangerous to throw hooks to this area because the knife arm can get cut coming in. So basically, there's certain target zones for knife fighting, and main ones are under the rib cage, like all around here, okay, and the neck from the front to the sides, and also here we're entering in under the sternum at an upward angle with these type of attacks, like this attack. See, I'm not trying to hit the breastplate here, like the sternum area with the stab. I'm trying to hit under, and if you hit, basically how I teach this all the time, if you put either fist or your hand over your belly button, that's the target zone for these upward stabs if you're trying to get to the heart. So pretty much a fist or the hand over your belly button, and that's like the bullseye where you're trying to hit with your upward stabs, because just a little bit above that you have the bone here. See, you have bone here, so hitting here, this is designed to stop stuff from getting to your vitals. So basically, entering in at the belly button area here, it can go under the breastplate, sternum bone, like under this bone here, and you have the heart in this area. So, and there's also major blood vessels going to and from the heart. So this is a target zone here, mostly for upward stabs, and for hooking attacks, this area and this area, meaning like stab here, I'm trying to hit not here to the rib cage or here to the hip area, because there's a lot of bone there, and if you hit bone, you won't get deep into the body. So for sideways hooking attacks to the body, knife fighting hooks to the body, it's like here, and then the target zone from the front of the torso. If the body's in front of you, upward stabs around the belly button, and it can get under the rib cage. And if it ends up being not centered, where it's like you're stabbing here, still the same target zone, if it enters there, it can go to a lung or something like this. So here's a target zone for frontal stabs here at an upward angle, okay? And here with knife fighting hooks, there's the liver, and here too, where you can still, you don't have a liver here, but you have a lung in here, and it's a non-bony area where you can get into the body. You have a chance of like severing a major blood vessel. So target zones for knife fighting here, once more, see? So if I can get like a one-handed neck grab and control your neck for just a second and go here, I'm aiming to go in here at an upward angle, say. So if I have it here on your coat, like a collar or whatever, if I have control for a moment and I'm launching an attack and I want to get to the heart, it's at this angle up here. See, so I'm aiming for basically the belly button in upward angle. So with these upward stabs from my hip, I'm aiming for this area. And if it's where the body's here, and it's like here, I can get into position and like have it more clean at a straight line. Now that's not really that important, because even if you don't enter into a straight line and get to the heart, if it's the same target zone and angle because the body moves, it still can get to a lung or something like this. So target zones for knife fighting here, here, and then here, the neck all around. And obviously, yes, you can poke, stab into the eyes and things like this, but that's very hard to do. It's similar to if you be at 10 yards with a pistol and trying to hit the eye socket when you're shooting at somebody. Like you'll be training gunfighting martial arts and you have like a bullseye. Now if you're training, somebody's coming at you, somebody's running at you with something, or you're close, and it's like typically people that are in fights and charging and coming to attack you and you have to defend yourself, whatever your tool is, they're not going to be kind of like, make sure you're moving in like where I keep this spot in the same, like, okay, it's like it's going to be moving in different ways, and it's like it'd be hard. So basically those type of attacks are not impossible to pull off, they're more training intensive, meaning if you want to have the chance like being able to pull off stabs through the eye socket in a high stress, like a fight scenario, obviously you have a greater chance if you're training that, like you're training knife fighting accuracy, where you can have like a bowler cap on a shoestring in the ceiling and you're practicing like hitting it with your stabs and things like this. Doing things like this can improve the chances that you can hit a small spot that is moving at will, okay? Now, still, that's not the most important things, where it's like, yes, stabbing the eye is a very bad injury, but a lot of times if your body is in front of me, okay, and I'm attacking you, I'm better off, do you understand? It's like I'm launching one attack. Each time I'm throwing a limb at you, there is a chance that you can get control of the knife arm. Depends on the person's athleticism, training, things like this. So if I'm moving right here, I'm holding this arm, keeping the body close, the weapon close to the body. And somebody reaching for it, I can cut the limb reaching for it coming in, or if it's like a kick or something like this. Now, as I'm approaching your body to deliver something, if it's a slash like this or a stab, it's like every time like I'm throwing this, there's a risk it can be blocked and somebody get control of it and things like this. So a lot of times it's like boxing. If you're standing in front of a person throwing punches, it's rare that it's like the boxer will like use his opportunity, this person's in rage right now, I can connect with my fist to his body, his torso, upper body, to like pick the shoulders at all, so because that's not as effective. It's like if you can touch the shoulder, you can touch the jaw a lot of times, or the side of the head. So it's the same thing with knife fighting, where it's like it's not just like point fighting, I'm touching the body somewhere somehow. It's about what damage are you doing. So with a hook attack, for example, and I'd rather try to connect to your head with a hook, whatever the hook is, if it's like this or the fist is like this, to the side of your head, just to your head, period, somewhere. And like, it'd be better if you hit the jaw, something like this. And I'm more like if I had the opportunity right now to connect with your upper body, to pick the head as a target zone if it's available, then the shoulder, okay? Because it's like even if I'd have as much force in this technique I'm throwing at you. If it lands here, it doesn't do as much damage if it lands here. Same with knife fighting, with the same mentality. It's like significant, like punches thrown, landed, significant. Significant deals with damage, okay? So, whatever. Stabbing to your hip here, and if you hit the hip bone, it's like that's not something to like laugh off. Okay? If you get stabbed in a hip bone, it's like you're gonna feel that you're gonna need surgery, you're gonna need some serious help. Okay, now it's not something that's likely to like stop you within 3 minutes, like to put you down, like stab to the hip bone. It might hurt, as it's going to cause bleeding and things like this, but it's not going to do as much as creating mechanical damage that like deprecates your fighting ability, whatever you want to call it, like that downregulates your fighting ability. So like a stab to the shoulder, for example, in the bone here, it's bleeding. It might make this limb less effective and harder to maneuver and not kind of limb what you can do. But a stab here, it starts a clock where if the carotid artery is open, you lose consciousness within, I think it is, I remember a stat like this, where it's like, if you sever one carotid artery, the person will lose consciousness and get like a blood loss knockout within, is it 60 or 90 seconds if one of them is cut, unattended. So that's doing more in terms of creating a serious injury to you that like the clock is ticking and make it more likely that you won't be able to fight me shortly from now. So if you can slash one carotid artery and it's left unattended, the person will lose consciousness from a blood loss, like a knockout, similar to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blood stroke, where if you stop the blood flow to the brain, the two carotid arteries, within 10 seconds, a rear naked will put you out. So if you cut one of them, it's still squirting out and not reach your brain, and you're losing blood in your body, and you'll pass out within 90 seconds and have one of your carotids cut if you're not doing something. So if that happens to me, and it's like it's squirting out here, if I leave it unattended, 90 seconds, I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna have a blood loss knockout, okay? Now, if I do something about it, like put one hand here to control the pressure, maybe now it's like it goes to like up to 3 minutes until I pass out, because there's going to be some blood leaking, but it's less leaking because I put my hand here, or like something like a hoodie or a shirt, and like do this all the time. Now what is this doing? It's taking this limb out of motion. It's like if I'm fighting you and this goes boom, like this blood starts squirting out here, okay? So if I get slashed here, left unattended, 90 seconds, I'll be losing consciousness. So if I do something about it, it's like get something here and then press against it. What does this do? Well, I'm limited in what I can do with my body now, see? It's like grabbing things here, it starts leaking out again. So it's like it kind of decreases your fighting ability, even before you start having the effects of being tired due to blood loss and dizzy and like worse balance and things like this. So it's not, it's also not, if you talk about that, laser focusing on that fact, which is relevant to knife fighting, where it's like you cut one carotid, leave it within 90 seconds, the person passes out from blood loss, okay? It's not until, like up until the 90 seconds, you're perfectly fine. No, it's like every deciliter of blood you're losing stamina because oxygen is carried by the blood. So you have less oxygen, you're losing athletic ability, you're losing coordination, and it's like you can get like punch drunk, where it's like you're getting like blurry vision, and like it can affect the fight ability, just losing blood and the oxygen that the blood is delivering to different vital organs like the brain and things like this. So anyway, talk more about knife fighting. Target zones here, okay? Put a fist over, and this is what I thought about. So it's like a target zone. It's not just a belly button. More precisely, you put like a fist over the belly button, and that's like the bullseye for these type of upward stabs. Okay, so if the body's here and I'm trying to stab him, it's like I'm aiming for the belly button. Okay, and if it's a little bit below, a little bit up, okay, but it's not too much. So the belly button is the bullseye for these upward kind of attacks, that if they enter it, they can get under the breastplate to the heart. And the Colts Recontento, one of the things that make it more effective as a weapon knife than the Fiskars K40, like these utility knives that I have. It's like cheap all-round utility knives, because it has a longer blade, which means entering here, it's actually, the blade is long enough where you can poke the heart, see? Whereas this you see the difference in blade is about half as long. So even if I insert it here, it's not long enough for a blade to poke the heart, even if I actually try and things like this. So one thing that makes this, the same thing that makes it better for an outdoors knife, like an all-round camping knife, than this. Meaning this having more length of blade, it makes it more usable as an axe, like chopping. It's like a thick branch of a tree, I want to chop it. This is better for actually small length of blade to like hack with than this. And this is more niched into like smaller cutting works, like sharpening hot dog grill sticks, okay? Which this can do too, only it does other things better. So the same thing that makes this a good tool knife, where like you can use it more like an axe and like chop at things. It also makes it better for a weapon knife, because it's made to be durable enough to do chopping activities, and the blade is longer for being better at chopping and things like this. And that makes it be able to reach further into the body. So if I stab to this side of the body and the blade is half as long, I can get half as deep into the body. Even if I hit a spot of the body that's unobstructed, like the path of this object that I'm like launching into your body, even if it's the right target zone, it can't get as deep. And basically one of the stops is my fist there, because like I have my fist acts as a break. If you stab me like this to the body, if it slides in, it's like this is a big object that will stop at the bottom of times. So anyway, this is a cold steel Recon Tanto, and if you want to get better knife fighting martial arts, I've been talking about that. And people can buy them and be crazy. They're Mike, you don't know what I know. I know what I'm talking about. Secondly, even if it wasn't good, you get it for free with other people that are telling you, giving free coaching on like whatever the skill is. They either monetize, you have to watch ads to watch the videos, or they got something to sell. Okay, so it's like free. And the matter of fact is, not only is what I do free, the coaching and teaching people, it's also better than what I've seen other people that teach. They're all monetizing, all making money from the coaching. So anyway, here's the point. This is called the Recon Tanto, and I recommend that if you get a knife, you get a training knife. So don't, if you're getting into knife fighting martial arts, you're going to carry a weapon for like an EDC where you live, by local laws required self-defense and use of weapons. So if it's illegal to have a knife on your person, really, I'm not saying you have a knife on you, okay? Now, if you have a knife on you for self-defense, or like an EDC or one knife, then it can have like one of the potential uses is if you get attacked and it's warranted and legal for you to use a weapon to defend yourself. That's part of like the back of your head, like it could be used for that, but mostly I'm using it to cut open boxes and stuff like this. Now, if you're interested in getting better at knife fighting martial arts, like I said, I recommend you get a training knife. And don't start doing these drills that I talk about that can get you better at using a knife with an action knife, because you're more likely to get hurt, especially starting out. So there's never a point where it's 100% safe. Meaning, and don't try this at home. For example, I've been using like actual knives for knife fighting shadow boxing before, doing it fast and things like this, and grip changes and things like this. Now, even with skill and like training, getting better at controlling this weapon and not having it end up doing things that I was intended to do. Like if I, for example, do shadow boxing, I'll do this. Okay, you're more likely to, if you practice that like technique, like cutting something here, like a leg or whatever it will be, to have it like, oh, it hit my leg and not here. I was aiming for here and I ended up nicking my leg or something like this. That's more likely to happen if you're just starting out. So it's never safe to use an actual knife for knife fighting training. It can become more safe, less dangerous over time if you build a skill. But anyway, here's the point. I recommend you get a training knife. And what I said is one of the things I like about cold steel knives is, for most of them that I've seen when I go and do like window shop on Amazon, look at cold steel knives, a lot of times you can find a training knife. I mean, if let's say it's like I see a video, a knife tuber, it's like cold steel leather neck or something, cold steel XL tent or something like this, and I go to Amazon, cold steel XL tent. A lot of times it will show up like a rubber training version and then the actual knife. So a lot of, ranging from a lot to most cold steel knives have a training version where it's the same dimensions only for training. So you can see what is the advantage of this. Well, if I'm practicing if I'm practicing using the actual knife to stab to the neck, I'm practicing the range. See, now I have to go lighter with a softer knife, but it's like here I'm learning the range. See, holding this knife, it's this many inches long from the handle. If I hold it like this is what I'm impacting. See, and if I'm slashing, it's like I'm practicing. See, I'm not missing here. It's like here, from here, going to the neck. See, I'm learning my range, okay? So that's part of building the muscle memory for being accurate with your attacks, where it's like you're not missing with your attacks. So if you just go from here, try to slash the neck, if you've been practicing connecting with the neck in impact training, it's less likely that you miss, okay? So having a training knife that's as close to the dimensions of the actual knife that you carry, it's advantageous because you're building the skill of connecting, okay? And it's immediate feedback. So it's not shadow boxing where it's like, I'm just practicing attacking there in front of me. Now, this is immediate feedback if I'm hitting or missing, say. So I'm practicing stand from here, attacking to the neck. And it's immediate feedback if I'm hitting one hit or if I miss, overshoot, or undershoot. And if I'm practicing a slash to the neck, see, that's actually the same technique holding the real knife would have created a nasty gash in the dummy there. So this is like 2/3 out of the 3 most important parts of knife fighting training. It's sparring and knife fighting shadow boxing does that well. And like I said before, for impact training like this, it's not that good. So it's better for sparring and shadow boxing training, like practicing grip change drills, for example, shadow boxing, knife fighting, shadow boxing, and sparring. And it's not as good for this impact training. Now they have training knives that you can get that are like blunted, like aluminum with like holes in it, looks like a saw knife, a lot of them, where they have like a round blunted, it doesn't have a sharp tip, it doesn't have a sharp edge, and it's kind of made to be a safe training knife while being rigid and stiff. So rigid training knives are better for solo impact training, which means if you, for example, have a tree in your backyard, or you go to the woods to practice knife fighting, or you have like a, I don't know, some kind of thing, okay, where you, like a tree, for example. With a rigid knife, I can practice knife fighting impact training against a tree. For example, this, like hitting, impacting with the tree, and then sliding off and then returning with a stab, for example, which is simulating real world how it feels to attack with a knife. And kind of a lot of this worst case scenario where you train the skill of hitting at softer parts of the body, not bone areas. But if you do hit a bone with this, it'd be similar to how that feels and how it affects you as if you hit a tree, for example. If you practice with a tree and you have a stiff knife and you hit it like this, there's like sudden resistance. And that could be hitting the hip bone or shoulder or the cranium or something like this. And you don't have to go all out, you can create injuries to, that's a different topic. So that, but even just tapping can be effective. It can help get better. So like you practice stabbing from here, for example, different target zones to the tree, and you're actually getting feedback of that similar to if you'll be doing the same technique to human body, and like you hit the shoulder bone or the hip bone or a rib or something like this. It's close to that. It's like sudden resistance, okay? And that's also important to build muscle memory for that. It will also expose flaws in your game if you have them. So if all you do is like knife fight and shadow box, you have more people feeling like they're really good at it without being there. Like for example, if you have a knife, you start just moving around like this, like fast, it's like you're doing all kinds of stuff. It's possible to do that, like move it fast different ways, with a bad grip, and your grip is loose, and if you would hit one of these attacks, like you lose the knife, or something like this. So it's good to practice muscle memory that's close to actually attacking a human body with the knife. So here, for example, like if you're hitting a tree with this attack, it's gonna feel kind of similar to hitting the shoulder area with the knife, holding the knife like this, either like this or like this, with like a punch cut here. So basically that's something you can do. Use a training knife, not a real one, but a training knife, a rigid training knife. For impact training, you can use a tree or something like this, like a small tree. And you can hit it with stabs and go light, okay? It's better to go light and slowly build up, so you don't like hit fast and I broke my wrist or my finger or whatever. Like you start light, and then you can kind of learn how hard you can go at what attacks and so this. So some of the things I recommend people look to get better at knife fighting. Once again, jumping back, it's one, get a training knife, okay, and you can use the training knife initially for learning grips, different grips, and that's like a basic of the basics, the grips. So, for example, here's one grip, the regular grip I call it, which is gripping like this with the thumb at the back, and I'm holding it like this, okay. Here's the reverse grip, I call it, and it can either be like this with the thumb to the side, but I prefer this. We have the thumb at the bottom, this reverse grip. Now, a more natural instinctual way that people hold knives if they pick up a knife and start using it is having the thumb to the side like this, and that's called the hand grip. We have the thumb to the side, and there's some advantages to have the thumb at the back, and rather than having this grip with the reverse grip, there's some advantages to having the thumb at the bottom, so that the instinctual way people do the knife a lot of times they will grip it like this, and in the reverse grip like this, and there's an advantage to like at least learning like this grip, which has a lot of advantages in my view. Like the benefits outweigh whatever negatives of this grip. So having the thumb here, if I have a loose grip here, for example, I can demonstrate it, and I move the arm forward. Notice how much it can move if I have a loose grip, okay? Now just adding the thumb here, same looseness of the fingers. It doesn't like turn it out of my hand and go all the way back here. So just having the thumb here, I have a completely relaxed hand, and I'm just holding it hard enough to not drop it. And if I go here, see it can move more. Or if I just, same looseness of fingers now, only the thumb at the back. It bends less. And bending does what? It applies force to your fingers and is something that can make you lose the knife. So if you will go against a tree like this, for example, and you have a loose grip, you lose the knife easily. And if you have a thumb back here, that can help to give resistance. So slash like this and hitting an arm, for example, if it can be more give and more likely that I lose the knife if I end up having not a really firm grip at the bottom of the fingers and hit here. It's more likely I lose the knife. Like the limb is moving and I'm attacking it. And if I have this grip and a little bit loose finger, it's more likely to like bend out of my grip because it's applying a lot of force to the wrist and the fingers. So, and also it translates to more cutting power, because if I'm hitting something here and the knife starts turning, there's less like pushing the blade forward. Now we'll get into specifics where a guillotine blade is angled like this, for example, because it gives more cutting power, that the blade is shaped like this at more impact to the neck than rather than being flat, okay? So you can have a little bit of that effect by it being straight and then turning and then cutting like this. Now, a lot of times it's better to have firmness to your grip and not that much play and give. So here's the point. Here's a better grip for a lot of things. In my view, this is a better way to grip the knife for a lot of things you're going to do with it than this, okay? So this gives me a backstop that can help break if I hit some things. It helps to keep the blade from bending back a lot, and bending back a lot means it's applying like leverage to my fingers and my wrist. I'm more likely to lose it. And also it gives you more, if power is lost by turning the blade back, that power is not being pushed into like cutting into the body. So having this here and pushing it, having a backstop here, I'm not losing energy by the object that I'm wanting to like move into here. It's moving backwards. I say I'm wanting to move it into the body and not have, as I hit the body, it starts moving back. See? So basically, I don't have to over-explain it, but this is a good grip to learn. And then you can go, well, it's like I prefer the hammer grip. Well, it's good you can learn this grip. So this is the regular grip, I call it, with the thumb at the back. And for most knives, this grip works with the thumb at the back. Like this small knife here, it works, have the thumb at the back. And like I said, if I push this into your head forward, so this is resistance, it's breaking the blade. If I have the hammer grip, I'm more likely to lose the knife as I'm impacting, because it's bending, it's applying force to my wrist and my fingers. So if I would like punch this into your forehead with this grip, I feel like it's more likely that you lose it than if you have this grip. And I just feel like an experience doing impact training with actual knives, like stabbing and slashing wood board, for example. It's like I felt what it feels like hitting with a slash like this to a hard object like wood versus with the thumb at the back. Okay, and I feel like this is a more secure grip I rather use attacking a hard object with. And then the reverse grip would be same. It works for most knives with the thumb at the bottom. See, and it works for this smaller knife just as it works for this bigger knife. This thumb at the back, and then thumb at the bottom. So you call thumb at the back, thumb at the bottom. So here, regular thumb at the back, reverse thumb at the bottom. And this is the same thing here, where if you do a stab, like a hammer fist stab like this, if you have a loose grip or sweaty hands like this, you're more likely to have your hands slide down. That actually happened to me doing knife fighting training once with a carpenter utility knife like this. And I had like a bookshelf that I was going to get thrown out, and it was waiting for somebody to come help me out with like a trolley. What is it called? Like a thing, or that somebody has a cart that has like a thing you can put it in and take it to the dump. And it's too big for me to like go down and then put it into the garbage house here. So here's the point. I was using it for training and with an actual knife, okay? Like slash and then stab and then stab and stab, slash, and things like this. I was practicing impact training with an actual knife. Don't try that, it's risky. And one of the things that happened, I didn't have this. I had this hammer grip, and my hand slid down, and I actually got a small cut under my pinky, and I couldn't fully close, like for around a month after that. I couldn't like fully close my pinky and make like a good fist, because there was, I guess, a nerve or muscle fiber that didn't go back yet. It was like stiff, like I could make a fist, and the pinky would be down to here, pretty much. So it could have been worse, like if I would have had more of a stab and then pulling down or something like this, or going harder, and it could have possibly it could have been hanging by a piece of skin. It could be the worst injury, but it was enough of an injury for me to learn my lesson. Okay, so after that, when buying knives, one of the things like analyzing it is like, well, that knife had a very small finger guard. Okay, it was like a carpet utility knife, and not built for a fighting knife. It's not built for you to stab into something like this. Okay, so this has a kind of pronounced, this Murakniv that has rusted. It has more of a pronounced finger guard, which makes it less likely a hand will slide over the finger guard and down on the blade, which means if you're stabbing, you're losing penetration. It's not about keeping you safe. So if I stab to your body, and I'm stabbing to this area once again, but I hit the hip, okay, or your arm, okay, but it's like your arm moves here, and I impact with a harder area. Now, first of all, I'm losing penetration power. Like this stabbing here, even if I do hit the rib cage, if I'm hitting hard enough, it can still break through the ribs and get into a line or something like this. Now, if the knife is strong enough to not bend or snap off or something like this as I'm impacting bone, the rib cage, and my attack is hard enough, like I'm swinging my arm fast enough to have like the penetration potential. If my grip is bad, all that potential penetration is lost as a moment of impact, like with bone, because even if my attack is like hard enough, like I swing it hard enough, if the attack is hard enough with this grip, for example, and I hit this hard enough, that my attack is hard enough that, like if it lands on the rib cage, it could still break through the rib cage and get to the lung. Okay. Now, even if my technique is right enough and I'm moving my arm fast enough, like the speed of the attack, force of attack is sufficient. Like with a good grip, that would have broken through the rib cage and still got into a vital. Okay. Now, if my grip is bad and it's like the same attack, I'm swinging my arm as hard, hitting the same target zone. If my grip is loose, all that potential penetration is lost, because it's like as soon as I'm impacting, this arm that like carries the energy is it's not being delivered and like transferred into the knife and translated into penetration. So basically, if I stab this at a bony area like the rib cage, and my grip is bad, this is like the same. This attack, this moving my arm that hard, let's say into the rib, possibly it could break the rib, or if it gets in between two ribs, could like still slide between and get in there. But if my grip is bad and the same, everything else is the same, like the force of my attack and the target zone is the same attack that if with a good grip would have broken the ribs or slid through and gotten into the virus anyway, with a bad grip, like I'm hitting the ribs and my hand slides down, and all of this potential energy in my arm is not being translated into penetration into the body. So what makes a good grip are two things, as far as I'm concerned. First of all, the object, the grip, okay, see. Secondly, it's a technique. So what is a good grip? It's like, well, what is the shape of the grip of the knife? That's part of what makes it a good grip. Secondly, it's a technique, like you gripping the holding the grip right, okay. So anyway, that's the point. Same here. If I stab down, I'm more likely to have my hand slide down here, which makes it more likely I cut myself, loose the knife, and I'm not all that potential energy like in my arm moving like this, it's not really translating as much into penetration, deep penetration of the body if I have a bad grip, say. So a firm grip keeps me safe. It helps me to not, it makes it less likely I cut myself as I'm hitting the body, like a sudden high resistance, like a bone, okay, where there's suddenly a lot of resistance, like high density, high resistance. It makes it less likely I cut myself. It makes it less likely I lose the knife. It makes the attack more penetrating, okay, more likely to penetrate even if there is bone in the way, okay. So here's one grip with the thumb, and here's the other grip. And these two main grips, if you get good at those, it applies to all kinds of knives, like most knives. If it's like a Bowie knife or machete, or a small sword, a big knife, a small knife, for most knives, like these two grips work well. Thumb at the bottom, and then thumb at the back. Also, I believe that having this here helps me to intuitively keep track of my blade alignment. So if I'm moving my arm around in different ways, it's like it's easy. And I noticed this when sparring with beginners, like my mom once, that I had to like stop and be like, hey, it's not a lightsaber, which is like she's moving. I can notice as the sparring that her blade alignment is off, meaning she's kind of slapping with the side of the framing knife and not slicing with the front of it. See, which ends up moving maybe where it's the back or something like this. So it's not a lightsaber where it's like you can move the knife like this and you're cutting on the sides with a knife like this. And like if you go kind of like this, it's not cutting because you're hitting with the back, see. So it's like only dangerously from the thumb, and my thumb is behind it. Do you understand? So like co-witnessing, the front of the blade is like my thumb, where I'm moving my thumb, I'm attacking, see. And if I can hit a light button, which I already have muscle memory for, like connecting with things with decent accuracy, like buttons, things like this, with your thumb, it's like it's co-witnessing with that. So it's like poking my thumb like this, like you would touch a button for this with your thumb. If I'm doing that with this grip, it's like that's where my knife is going with stab, see. So it's like I believe it helps to keep track of edge alignment and help you to connect with the part of the knife you want to connect with, and more intuitively. So you have the thumb here. It's like wherever I have my thumb, where I'm moving my thumb, which you can even use without a training knife, your hands for knife fighting shadowboxing. We can do knife fighting shadowboxing. Like notice this, I have my thumbs here, and I can practice stabbing. See, like this here, stabbing like this, and then slashing, for example, like I'm slashing, and in front of the thumb I'm slashing, and then at the tip of the thumb I'm stabbing. So even without training knife, you can use your hands for knife fighting, shadow boxing, where it's like you're practicing stab, 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 slash, slash, stab, or something like this. It's like slash is the thumb, you're slashing with the thumb, and you're stabbing with the tip of the thumb. So it helps to keep track of the blade alignment, which like when my thumb is in front of my thumb, I'm slashing, and in front of the tip of the thumb, like here, the nail, if I'm poking my thumb, that's where I'm stabbing. It makes it easier to be accurate, more intuitive, which like your thumb, it's like I could stab, it's not that hard to be able to like stab this handle here with my thumb and be accurate with it, because it's like you use your fingers a lot throughout life, touching things and buttons, so it's like, and it's like intuitive, where it's like pushing this out. So basically, having the thumb here, not only is more secure, so it's less movie, see, hand grip, more movie. Thumb at the back, more resistance, which translates to less likely you lose the knife, it bends out of your hand, and more cutting power forward, because you're not losing potential cutting energy by the blade moving backwards. It's like you keep it there. So, and then another advantage is intuitively, it helps you to keep track of, like to be accurate, I believe. It's like pushing your thumb, touching something forward with your thumb is something that most people could do, see. So it's like it's the same thing. If you have this grip, it's a little bit like this. So what is the point? I believe it can help with the accuracy for attacks. So it's like you're getting the blade, the part of the blade where you want it to be. Because in front of the thumb, it's slashing. In front of the thumb, it's slashing. And with the thumb, poking with the thumb like this, you're stabbing. Which means, as I said before, you can use your hands for knife fighting, shadow boxing before you get a hold of a training knife. Or just have your thumbs like this. And then you can do things where you're slashing, see? And notice how that is knife fighting, shadow boxing with the thumb here. That's a slash. Now, the same grip, see, it's like the same thing. I'm squeezing my fingers, I have my thumb here, for an actual knife, see? And this is one of the most safest ways to practice knife fighting in shadow boxing. Just having all thumbs initially. You can practice different guards and stances and attacking like this from this guard, like this. For example, go to the hip, thrust, or cut like this from the hip, stuff like this. So yeah, anyway, I'm not going to over-explain it. It's like I'm very interested in this, so it's like I get bogged down with the details, like a passion, stuff like this. I get like OCD about the details. Sometimes if I talk about like, I just like getting into different details and thinking about things to a point where maybe for other people might sound like it's like super hard and complicated, stuff like this. It's not that difficult. An average person just pick up a knife throughout like crime statistics, people have been very effective with killing other people having a knife in their hand the first time they use it as a weapon without any training. Okay, so now you can become more dangerous if you train it. Okay, so if it's like it's the threshold for the skill required to be dangerous while holding a knife. It's like it's very low. Pretty much anybody that hold a knife in the same movement as you would intended to hurt you, it's dangerous. Okay, now there's things that can make the person more dangerous, more likely to land their attacks where they want it, and be able to hurt the person and like kill the other person quickly, and be more likely to survive somebody else trying to kill them with a knife, things like this. So anyway, that's the point. It's not pointless to train, and I believe that if you have anything that you think you might need to use as a weapon at some point, it makes sense to train with it. If it's a knife or a gun or a sword or a stick, same thing. If I would be one of these people that's like, hey Mike, what do you have for home defense? I got a baseball bat by the door, something like this. I wouldn't, if that was me, and it's not, like that's all I had, that was my home defense, I got a baseball bat, and if somebody comes to the door, I got the baseball bat. Now I wouldn't just buy a baseball bat, put it there, and then forget all about it. And then, oh, I need to use the baseball bat for home defense, and it's the first time I'm using this as a weapon now. Do you understand? I've been making drills with it. I've been practicing like shadow boxing, wielding it in different ways, I would practice impact with something, even if it's light, and things like this. And moving around in my home, holding the weapon, and things like this. And building some muscle memory for it. Now, for me, the martial arts training, it's not like purely like to defend myself if I need to use a knife to fight with, okay, like as a defensive thing. It's a lot of like a passion, like martial arts. Like some people have a bow and they never go hunting with the bow, but it's like they have like a target in the backyard and they shoot with the bow, and it's like a form of moving meditation for them, and like they enjoy like archery and just the sport, solo sport of archery, okay, and they might also have like, well, I guess I could use my bow as a home defense weapon if I need to, okay. Now the main thing is, even if God will give me special revelation as an example to like share my mindset with you. If God wouldn't, He wouldn't do this, okay? But if God would be like, hey Mike, it's like I'm an angel here to tell you the future for God. You will never get into a fight, okay? You're gonna live from now on until you're 90. You're not gonna get into any type of fight, no weapons fight or fist fight. I'd still be training fist fighting, like boxing training. I'd still be training knife fighting. Okay, I'd still be doing it even if I knew that I would never end up getting into knife fights, because it's like a passion and something that feels immensely meaningful to me at times. So more or less, it's something that I'd like to do, and then part of it also is it's something that could be useful in real life. Okay. So anyway, also another thing with the knife fighting training, it also works for other things. So here in Sweden, it's not legal to have a knife on you, to leave your home with a knife on you. Okay, now you can have knives at home, machete, swords, things like this, but you can't leave your home with one. Okay, so now still, the knife fighting training still applies to flashlight fighting. So I have the right to have a flashlight on my person. And let's say you get attacked and all you have was a flashlight. Hammer fist with a flashlight makes this technique, I can hit hammer fist hard. And look at this. See, that's a hammer fist. Now imagine that's hard enough to break his nose, and if it hits the front row teeth, it can knock teeth out, that's split his lip, things like this. So if just the fist, there, okay, that's hard enough to hurt if I can let that. Now, so if you've been practicing hammer fist, and it's like, then you hold something in your hand that pokes out the bottom of your hand, that makes the hammer fist more dangerous. If that's keys that you got in your hand sticking out, if it's like a stainless steel pencil you have, or it's like a stick, okay, anything that's like denser, sharper, pointier, harder than the muscles like at the bottom of your hand, the same technique is more effective, augmented. So hammer fist, for example, notice how that technique is a lot of the attacks with reverse grip will be a hammer fist here, like to attack this level. Some of the ways you could use a knife with this grip, with the bottom, see, like this. Hammer fist, which is similar to the fourth generation I use for certain elbow strikes when I train them. Like this, for example. Roughly, okay. Or like this, or and turning my body into it. It's similar, a lot of body dynamics are it's the same body dynamics, like turning the body, and only instead of this, which can work, and it might not be the perfect technique like my Thai coach would be, no, it's supposed to be more like this. But the point is this, I can move my arm in a way where I'm hitting with this area hard, okay? So it's like it can be effective, and I might be more effective when more refined. That's the point. So similar to this, and hit it with the elbow strike, or from above, for example. If you have a knife, it's the same body dynamics, where it's this, see, for a powerful stab, rather than like hitting with this or going to the front of the face with the elbow here. It's pretty much the same body dynamics with this. See, it's still bowing up, like maybe throwing something here or putting my hand here or grabbing, but it's like this goes out like here and then turning my upper body and pivot on the foot and you don't even have to do that. You can throw something without pivoting, without turning, just static like this, for example, or like this, or like this. Now notice how this, for example, this elbow, close range. So this up here, even with like arm punching, with this grip it applies to knife fighting. So for example, this attack here, with the left, look at this. And this is a sternum upward elbow strike to the sternum. See there, okay? If it's the same technique, only higher it can be to the face. And it's a little bit different. But from here, that can hurt, okay? Like to the sternum solar plexus, especially against somebody that doesn't have a conditioned body. Like here, where I'm hitting the elbow at the sternum bone, here. I saw a guy who was teaching, and he was kind of centric on like stick fighting, and he was like really a fan of talk about targeting the sternum with your stick attacks, okay, like at an upward angle, like hitting the sternum bone, like roughly this. Now anyway, here's the point. This definitely can hurt you, like if you saw this upward elbow and it lands to the sternum. So the same technique, close range here, that's for my elbow up there. If it's a knife, it's the same ball dynamics to about 95%. Only instead of hitting with my elbow, I'm moving my arm in the same way to generate force into your body. Only I'm not impacted with this, I'm impacted with this. So the range is a little bit different. See? It's like here, you turn more and hit with the elbow. With this, see, it's different timing range. Where if this would miss and I'm not holding a knife, I will be hitting with my elbow. See from here. See here. So moving like this, here, I'm hitting with the elbow. Now if I'm holding a knife, it's the same ball dynamics. This is a training knife now. Only instead of here with the elbow, it's this with the knife from here. And I'm cutting something. And that could be here, it could be whatever. Like this, generate a lot of force from here. So if you know how to generate force for certain types of elbow strikes, like close range, you can apply that to knife fighting, and you start it close, and then turning up and attack as if you would be throwing upward elbow. And if it be a knife here, it can cut and it can hurt a lot. So anyway, where else to get with this? If you want to get better at knife fighting martial arts, I recommend you to get a training knife. As things you can start out doing, learn the two basic grips. This is what I call the regular grip, aka thumb at the back, and this is the reverse grip, what I call the reverse grip, aka thumb at the bottom. So thumb at the bottom, see, and then thumb at the back, and then an augmentation of the regular, aka thumb at the back grip, is where I'm sliding my pinky under here, see. And same here, if I'm stabbing to the body, the rib cage, I'm having more of a break, where it's like it's more likely, more easier for my hand to do this if I'm hitting hard to an area that offers sudden resistance, okay? Where it's like a bone or a rib cage like this here. Like if my grip is a little bit bad, it's more likely I can slide down. And if I have this pinky here, the pinky makes a big difference in terms of how much resistance there is. Like if I poke into something hard, it's not sliding as much, okay? So I can feel the difference. Like if I have this, I can feel in my wrist and my fingers, but if I put a pinky here, it's different. So anyway, here's the pinky at the bottom, which is an augmentation of the thumb at the back, like a regular grip. Augmentation of that, like a version and an alternate way to do it, just a little bit different, putting the pinky at the bottom. And as I said before, different grips for different knives. Like this type of grips works for most knives. If it's a kitchen knife, a butcher knife, a brewer knife, this is a tool knife, a utility knife, these grips work for most knives. And some knives that are like more marketed for like that as fighting knives, they might have like a split skull breaker. It's like a feature that's marketed, like what it has a skull break at the bottom. Okay, which it is effective. Like I said, hammer fisting, if this would have a skull breaker, quote unquote, the heavy fist attacks will be hurting more. Okay. Now, mainly with the knife, I'm looking to stab and slash you, and not hammer fist. And the hammer fist I want to do is the hammer fist where I have a big blade coming out of my grip, and not like a little micro, like a little small thing that can't really penetrate deep into the body. Now it's more likely to break bones, for example, and to hurt more with the hammer fist. Now a lot of times, if I could like pick, and they had like a version of cold steel knife that had a skull breaker at the bottom, I think I might still pick not a skull breaker, even if they had like version 1, 2, same price, it'd be like with skull breaker. Without, I think I might pick it without, because first of all, it's easier for me to end up hurting myself as I'm with a weapon or a skull breaker. Secondly, it like limits me when this grip is like off the table now. So if you have a skull breaker here, a sharp, poorly hard object here, now like if I do this, I can't really be attacked like this with the thumb at the bottom because I'm hurting myself, okay? And a lot of times it's not worth the trade-off to make like the hitting with the handle more effective versus not having able to grip it like this with the pinky at the bottom or the thumb at the bottom. And also, like if I have it here and like move it up to as a guard or something like this, I just poke myself somehow. It's more likely you hurt yourself inadvertently. If I throw a punch in and change it, like I scratch open my wrist as I was doing something with the skull breaker. So a lot of times it's not worth it. So I'd rather have a knife like this knife that it doesn't have a skull breaker. Now, like I said, it's like there's an advantage to have a skull breaker where it makes these like close range hammer fist attacks. If I'm locked up with the opponent at close range and I hit it like this, it makes these type of attacks where I can't necessarily, might not be able to generate enough space to like really hack it. But if I'm close to hit with the bottom of it with a skull breaker, it will make it do more damage hitting the bone areas. Now anyway, here's the point. These gripping methods work for most knives, okay? Fighting knives, utility knives, whatever, machetes, for most weapons. So once again, here's like the hammer grip that most people is the instinctual way to grip a knife. And here's what I recommend to learn these grips. The first one, you don't have to learn it because that's how most people pick up a knife and hold it, okay? Or a machete gun chopper, they use like the hammer grip here. So learn these grips is what I recommend. This, we put the thumb at the back of the blade. See? Here. And then the reverse with the thumb at the bottom. So the thumb at the back and the thumb at the bottom grip. See? And then an augmentation of the thumb at the back grip is where you put your pinky at the bottom, and it gives more resistance. Now, as I said before, don't try anything you see me doing this live stream at home, but I'm going to be doing some impact training here, and I'll demonstrate kind of case in point here. See if we can get the flash on. Heck, we'll do it like this. So if you look at this here, like I said, don't try this at home. Here. Okay, obviously, this normal hammer grip it works to stab with it. Now, adding the pinky at the bottom. Okay, hold on. I feel like it's more secure, and there's less of a feeling like my hand is about to slide off the handle. This is like worst case scenario. It's very resistant, high resistance, like hitting a hip bone or shoulder or something like this. Where this is similar to bone, it's like an analog for bone, to simulate a bone, impact with bone, like dense wood like this. So having the pinky at the bottom, and then let's have the thumb at the back. So definitely it's hard enough, and the pinky acts as like a backstaff. So even if my fingers are loose, just the pinky in of itself is doing a lot to keep my hand from sliding down, which is similar to this. And like I said, when I got hurt once, I think I had this grip, and perhaps an impact on a wood, like a shelf, okay, like this, and it's like my pinky. Now if I do this, yeah, I can feel my hand wanting to move a little bit. And if I do a super hard stab to super hard target zone, like bone, it's more likely, even with this good grip, that's like well textured, the shape, the texture, everything is good grippy, okay. Now the thumb at the back, just the thumb, see one finger and the thumb, see, just one finger and the thumb, is enough for me to generate like penetrating, stabbing impact. See? See? And that was just the thumb at the bottom and this finger. See? I think that demonstrates it. I would not try just one finger like this. Okay. Same force, it will slide down, even with a very good grip. So, thumb at the back and thumb at the bottom are good grips to learn. And one of the things that you can do after you learn those two grips and you have a training knife, you can start doing grip change drills, okay? Which I believe is utility, usefulness in that, like grip change drills. So after you learn the two grips, and it's like look at your hand, assuming this grip with the thumb at the back, and then switching to the thumb at the bottom, now you can start doing grip change drills where you stand and you have a training knife, and you do a grip change drill, one-handed, okay? So you might feel like the first time trying that, like you instinctively you feel like assisting with the other hand, like it's hard for you to do with one hand. Like a lot of people will be like instinctively like change, they would like use both hands, or feel like they really have to look and it's like really awkward. Now, you want to get to a point where you can do grip change drills with one hand without looking, okay, and without like dropping it, okay. So you can do like 10 repetitions quickly, or grip change drills, and I'm not looking and I'm not assisting with the other hand. And it's not just about, it's something that is very likely that end up being used from the fight, where it's like first I start with this grip, and then slash, and then change the distance, and then quickly change to this grip, which is better for certain things. Yeah, it can be utility in that, being able to change the grip quickly and get like proficient at that, where it's like muscle memory, change the grip. Like maybe if I go stab, 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 I move back, and as I move back, I've built the skill of doing a grip change one-handed without looking, and I'm buying some time and space. Like I'm moving out after stabbing, stab like this. I'm moving back, and I've already changed the grips into this grip. There's an advantage to this grip where you can attack in ways that are powerful with like punch carry, as I call it, which is like, here's one of the things. If you know how to throw a punch, like normally if you throw a punch, you throw 1-2s and intending to hit to the chin a lot of times in boxing. See, with the knuckles to the chin. See? See, and I'm punching here or to the mouth with my knuckles. So what I call punch carrying, once again, is like 95% the same body dynamics as strong punchers. Only I'm missing on purpose, and I'm using the same body dynamics. Only instead of hitting with the knuckles here or here, I'm punching the blade into your neck or something like this. So this is what I call punch carrying here. See? And it's like I threw a punch to the side of his face, and what I really did was punch the blade into his face. See? So here, there's a punch. And notice there, okay, there one, that one. That was the same technique, like 95%, as punching here, only I'm punching to the side of his head, and the blade is being punched into his throat. So it's the same, like 95% the same body dynamics as from punches, like punch, punch, punch. See, that's a hook. I throw with the left. So left, 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 punch, left, and that's a hook from the side. Now notice if I'm holding a knife, the same techniques just altered a little bit become even more dangerous, because here, if I throw a hook like this, see, holding a knife, I just hooked, like I punched the blade into his neck or the side of his face there. And same with this grip, instead of punch here, it's, see, I'm punching the blade into his neck. So it's the same ball dynamics as throwing punches like 90-95%. So you can use that, like if you already have some muscle where you know how to throw punches, it's just augmented a little bit. Like your hold with this grip, it works well. It's very similar to throwing punches with the reverse grip. Like here, for example. Okay, so here's a punch. See, 1, 2, 3. Pat, pat, and then hit with the knuckles into his mouth. Now, with the knife, jab, jab, and then I punch the blade into his neck. And it's the same ball dynamics as holding a punch. Only instead of hitting with the knuckles, I'm missing on purpose, you could call it. See, where, and the focus is not missing, the focus is hitting with the blade. But can I explain it as if you were trying to throw a punch here, but you missed, okay? Now, if you have this grip, and you punch here, and same technique only to the side of the face, I'm punching the blade into whatever target zone. So it's the same ball dynamics as punches. Also with Muay Thai, for example, elbow strikes. The Muay Thai hand-to-hand combat system, I find that a lot of that can be augmented for knife fighting, just like micro adjustments. So if you look at this, for example, here's an elbow strike. And it's like I turn my elbow into his face like this, or here, or from here, from range, bam, bam, and then step in and hit with the elbow. Okay, same there. It's like 95% the same body dynamics, and I'm attacked with the knife. So here, bang. See, and notice how it's 95% the same body dynamics as when I was attacked with my elbow. While I first tap with the left, step in and hit with the elbow. Now, hitting with the elbow, I could also feel that I was touching his face with the knife. See? So this bang, 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 for example, with a knife, see, it's pretty much the same technique. And even if I would like forget that I'm having the knife here, and I'm just throwing elbow strike, I end up hitting with the blade as I'm throwing elbow strike. See? Like inadvertently, just holding the knife here, and then, okay, let's hit him with elbow strike. Maybe I hit him with the blade because the blade connected before the elbow strike did. Muay Thai fighting techniques can be augmented for knife fighting and have like the same techniques, just altered a little bit, be effective for fighting with a knife. Like elbow strikes like this, for example, like using elbow strike up like this with a knife up. See, I'm cutting up with this grip. Elbow strike here with a knife. I'm attacked with the knife. Same with boxing techniques, just augment a little, like stab him, hit him with the knuckles here, like bang, bang, bang. I'm punching. Only instead of hitting here, I'm punched to the side of the head and I'm hitting with the blade. See? So it's like, that's what I call punch cutting. Whereas like here, you notice there, that was like a throughout punch. Only instead of hitting here with the knuckles, I punch the blade into his face. So same to the neck here. It's very similar to when I'm hitting like boxing punches to the chin for different positions. If it's thrown like this, no guard, just that suddenly punch to the jaw. With the knife, here, yeah, I'm cutting. It's very similar to strong punches. So anyway, support. Once again, if you want to get better knife fighting, I recommend you get a training knife. Learn the grips that I showed you, some at the back, some at the bottom, and then augmentation of the thumb at the back is with the pink at the bottom. Then you can start doing things like grip change drills is a good initial thing, where you start doing grip change drills. So after you learn the two grips, thumb at the back, thumb at the bottom, you can start doing grip change drills, where you switch from one grip to the other, and you want it to be a proper grip, not just like checking the box, okay, I have it. You want it to be ready to receive and deliver force, like a proper grip. So it's like from this, okay, switch to this, and then it's a proper grip. Switch to this, and it's a proper grip again. Switch to this, it's a proper grip again. Part of what this is doing, especially if you do with the actual knife, which I'm not recommending anybody to do, use a training knife, is like you're building intuitive knowledge of this object that you're going to use as a weapon. Where it's like how it feels and moving it around. You're building like the skill of moving this object in your hand without inadvertently cutting or stabbing yourself, things like this. And you can do that in different ways. You have the knife to grip change drill, like to the side here, kind of at the hip, here. And then if you end up with a training knife, stab yourself, it's like apparently you're not that skilled at moving a knife close to your body without poking yourself and slashing yourself. So doing a simple thing like grip change drills from here, without cutting yourself, without losing the knife, without poking yourself, this is a training knife, remember. So that like the cost is high if it be a real knife. It's like you're getting better at controlling the knife and wielding the knife without hurting yourself. And then you can do things where a grip change drill from here, for example. Here, okay. Here, and then doing different grip change drills. Another way the grip change drills can be good for you is depend on your carry. If you're covert carrying it and you free it, sometimes with certain knives I noticed that the drawing grip is not that good. Like a lot of times if I draw a knife, it can happen where, especially from covert, was that the drawing grip might be this, where I'm drawing it with 2 fingers, and then it becomes acquiring a proper grip from there. Especially with like certain types of knives, certain carry positions. The fastest way to draw the knife a lot of times ends up being you end up with not having proper grip. So for example, from here, say here, with 3 fingers with this specific knife, the Mora Kniv Pro Robust is called. So with this grip here, see, this is a good drawing grip. Now, well, it's a way to draw it. Now I only had 2 fingers on it and 1 finger here. So this is not ready to receive force. It's very easy. It hits something, I lose it. And it's not really good at stabbing. So doing some grip change drills can make it better to quickly go from an improper grip, which means you were carrying it covertly, and going from an improper grip to a proper grip. So here, for example, see, that's a drawing grip, and here's the drawing grip. It's like 3 fingers, there you say. Now here, I'm not really comfortable. It's not a good like stabbing to bone grip or slash your neck or something like this. So if I've been doing grip change drills, I've been building like finger skills of going from an improper grip to a proper grip quickly without looking. So I've noticed how that's made me better. And like when I arrive at improper grip, getting a good grip from there, say, like here. And how I learned with this, with a new knife, a lot of times the drawing technique will be different. So after I got this and carried it, and end up like pulling it and doing like drills, it's like do-do-do, and then draw it as fast as I can pretty much. Now here's the point, like that is in my mind to do-do-do. Now here's the point, that I actually cut myself once. So what I did to draw it quickly was put my finger here and then pull with the fingers, end up cutting myself as it came out the sheet. When doing like speed drawing drills. Was like quickly, and it's like I cut myself, just a little cut here. Okay. So after that I augmented it and I'm able to pull it quickly without cutting myself, which is always an advantage. It's not from covert carry or how I carry it. And it becomes with this knife, one way that works without cutting myself to draw it quickly is to put this finger here and then 2 fingers down here and then push pull. See, and it becomes an improper grip, but it's a way that I can pull it without cutting my fingers. And it works. See, so if I can get this finger here, feel for this, and 2 fingers only on the handle, that's enough for me to be able to pull it. And then it becomes getting a proper grip. See, I'm going from the bad grip to the proper grip. So from here, this specific knife, so the first time I learned the wrong way to pull it, by just, I got the unboxing it, I got it from Amazon. I kind of experimental, they have a knife like this, kind of this guy, what is trying to, I bought this, and it's like I put it in there, and then I started doing like speed, pulling it, and end up here, like instinct or whatever, or a way that works for a lot of knives to pull it. It's like here, finger here, and then start pulling it, end up cutting myself like this, kind of, just a minor cut. And then it's like I figure out a way where I can do it, get the job done of quickly unsheathing the knife without cutting my fingers. And it's with this specific knife, they have like a little knob here that protrudes. And getting this finger on there, see this, and then the 2 fingers are pulling up, and that's pushing out. So it's push with 1 finger, pull with 2. As you notice how it's freed now. Now, so let's say it's covered with a shirt or something like this. Here. Let's say it's covered with a shirt, and I free it from the shirt. Now, what I need to do, I have 2 fingers here already. Now, if I get my finger there, see, it's out, okay? Now, without cutting my finger. Now, it's out, and it's an improper grip, see? So it's like a way that I can quickly, without looking, get this fixed blade from covert carry under a shirt or under pants or like this, or in the pocket, like a technique that works. If I get my finger on this and 2 fingers on the handle, I know I can deploy without cutting my fingers, see? Now, I don't want to cut myself at his support. So from here, it's a way that works. See, just push and pull with 2 fingers, but it becomes an improper grip. So it's a drawing grip, not a fighting grip. So here, see here, it's free now, and then it becomes acquiring a proper grip from here, and I'm ready to fight with the knife. Or from here, see, if it's this and I want to go to the other one, it's So it could be this, see, a proper grip from an improper grip, but the drawing grip is an improper fighting grip. It's a proper drawing grip, but an improper fighting grip. I can't even get my fingers like a proper grip with this knife and sheet design, because part of the sheet is buried in the sheet. Part of the handle is buried in the sheet. See? So if I want to have this grip or this grip, I can't even get my finger here when it's in the sheet, see? Because I can only like access about 2/3 of the handle. So even here, like I have more fingers, and it's still not a proper grip, see? So, and I think probably why I was able to quickly drilling this with this new knife and carrying it, and like, oh, that's the wrong way to do it, cut my finger, to like a way that works that I don't cut myself, and being able to do it. I think it's part of it is the knife fight, like grip change drills, where it's like I've drilled having a bad grip, switching to a proper grip, like having a bad grip like this or a grip like this, and going to the reverse grip, or going from the reverse to the normal grip. So here's a way to specifically to pull this specific knife, as opposed to this, and then pulling it. That's how I cut myself somehow, okay? So here's the point. Finger here, 2 fingers here, and then push with this finger and pull with this. So it's push-pull. 3 fingers, 1 here, 2 here, and then see to free it and then draw. And now it becomes, I quickly want to acquire a proper grip, because if the ball is in front of me, somebody's moving in on me, okay? Stabbing like this, it's not a good grip for stabbing. It's not a good grip if somebody kicks it or something like this. It's easy for me to lose the knife. It's hard for me to generate serious like cutting force or like penetration force. So from here it becomes improper grip, the draw grip, to a proper grip. And I've been like drilling muscle memory from going from one grip, and at some part of this it's an improper grip, like having only a few fingers on it, the way that I'm doing right now. Using inertia, you can do all like finger power, where like your like finger, you're focusing, you're using muscles in your fingers to change the grip. Now, a lot of times how I end up doing it is using inertia and gravity, where it's like this. See, and part of it is gravity work. I'm not just using my fingers to move the knife around. It's this, it can be even this, see, where it's like using inertia here, and then letting gravity do some of the work. See here, and it's very little finger power I'm using to manipulate this. It's like pretty much just holding it and then turning in a way where gravity does the work, and like inertia, gravity here. See, and I'm using more energy if I'm using like muscles in my fingers to turn it, versus turning, it's like 2 fingers is enough, and then letting it fall, see. So it's like, see, getting 2 fingers in the middle is, for a lot of knives, how I do the grip change drills. Like here, see, I'm putting my thumb here, turning, see, and doing this. Or from here, this is a strong grip, the middle, thumb again in the middle, and I can assist with the finger and like push it that way. There's so many things you can do. That's the point. Grip change drills, I believe that they're not worthless to do. I believe that that's a good starting out drill to do. You get a training knife and you start doing grip change drills. Okay, it can be like you're drawing it, you have bad grip, you drop the knife, you get it up, somebody kicks out of your hand, you can get to it, and it's like the grabbing it off the ground grip is not the same as the proper grip, but you've been drilling like bad grip to good grip quickly, I think so this. And that can be help with drawing it from uncomfortable positions. Like you have a grip that's not good, which can happen is the kicks out of your hand, you go for it, and it's like they pick it off the ground, it might be this grip, see, because it's like this. Okay, now if you have muscle memory for it, go to a proper grip, that's it, it can help in different like the details. Okay, drawing without cutting yourself, like getting a knife off a surface, and the getting off the surface pick-up grip is not a good fighting grip. You go from like a pick-up grip to a proper fighting grip. That's part of like the skill what you're doing when you're switching. You're just building muscle memory and building the skill of moving a knife better, okay, with one hand, without looking. So initially, if you do this, you might feel like the gravitational pull, your body intelligence wants you to look and assist with another hand, okay, one or the other of both. So it's good to get to a point where you can do it with one hand And you don't want to over-drill it. There's something like theoretical training scores, where it's like possibly if you did this like for 3 hours straight, and you end up like in a fight, maybe you end up like switching the grips all the time, and maybe that's not good. But here's the point: it's like I don't really. It's like this overhyped the concept training scores. If you're training things that make sense and are not stupid, and it's like you're unlikely to get worse by training. Okay. So anyway, here's the point. Here's another thing about training. You don't want to be like, or you don't have to be like, well, before I start practicing, I need to find the best like technique and be perfectionistic. Or say I need to figure out what the best knife is before I start training knife fighting and order it. I need to figure out what the absolute best technique is for this. Here's a so well, here's a wise thought, wiser than a foolish one. So the instinctual way of fighting with a knife, if all you do is figure out a way that's a little bit better than the instinctual way and reel that, now your training is still valuable. So even if it's not like the best, like some law, like the best way of attack with a knife, the best technique, the best knife, if like all you're doing is drilling, attacking in ways that are a little bit better than the instinctual way that you would just like have a knife to attack with, just something that's a little bit better is still valuable. Find a way that's better than the instinctual way and drill that. So you don't have to have this like analysis paralysis. It's like, well, I'm not going to start training until I figure out some system that's the perfect system or the perfect knife and stuff like this. It's like you start training things that make sense and makes you better than an untrained person. Now, if you've been training stupid stuff like smacking with the side of the blade, for example, now that's obviously worse than the instinctual way of attacking. So do you understand? I mean, it's like typically people are like stabbing like this or like holding the knife like this and like slashing with it or like this or something like this. Now, if you would end up with the side or like smack them with the side of the blade, like this is a train knife, remember? Okay, so like this, okay, that might look good like in a kung fu movie. Like one of the scenes is like an instant where the guy walks up, like smacks on the side of the blade. It's like, oh, he gets offended, and it like, you know, like part of kung fu. I've seen movies where it's like they're doing things that are ridiculous, like having chopsticks and picking a hair off the guy's head or something like this, and then like maybe like stabbing him once in the knee with it. Oh, it hurts, stuff like. Do you understand? Like it's like drawn out, like kind of like 99% showboating. But here's the point. So really, there'd be few situations where like if you had a knife in this grip and there's a board in front of you, you want to attack it, that like the right move would be hitting with the side of the blade. Okay, it was like this. Okay, smack him with the side of the blade, like this. It's like you want to be hitting with the cutting and like the hitting with the poking side of the blade. So anyway, that's the point. Things you could get a training knife. Start doing grip change drills is what I recommend. With both hands is good. You start with the right hand. You assume this grip. You switch to the other grip and you make sure it's a proper grip. You can test it with a training knife. Be like, yeah, it's secure enough where I can like somebody punches into this or I move this. It's like, yeah, I can feel like it's a good grip. And then switch to this grip. Now this you don't want to do too much because parts of that give you like muscle memory for playing with the knife. Okay, but here's the point. With a training knife, one advantage is you can like test initially. Where it's like test this grip. I feel like this is a good grip. You can like test it like this. And it's like I can feel like it's not moving. If you have a loose grip, see, notice how it's different. So anyway, 2 grips. You can do grip change drills. That's a good starting drill. Like you get a knife, you learn the 2 grips. You practice alternate from 2 grips. Once you got the hang of it with the right hand, you get to the point where you can do it without looking, okay, with one hand. Okay, now you can switch to the second hand, the left hand, or whatever your non-dominant hand is, and you start from scratch again. And so you could go acquiring a proper grip with the left hand, and then switch to a proper grip, the reverse grip, and do a grip change drill with the left hand until you can do that unassisted with this hand and without looking. And here's another thing. This is, even if I wouldn't tell you, but I'm just telling you that if you don't get a knife, I have some things I recommend to do. This will also initiate increased neuroplasticity, which makes your body, your brain better at acquiring a new skill. So anything you do that increases neuroplasticity makes you better able to quickly learn a new skill. like it helps you to learn a new skill. Like for example, if somebody would be like, I'm learning French or something like this, which is a language skill, and then also the same month they like force themselves to write only with the left hand, writing with the left hand and non-dominant hand is triggering increased neuroplasticity. And now your brain is like supercharged for learning new things because this guy started doing something. And the reason for that is like, well, your body is supposed to be able to adapt. So it's like if somebody would like have the arm cut off, they might have to like do everything with the left hand now. So the brain is able to like get better at doing things with the non-dominant hand if you can't use the right. So it's like, oh, this guy is only using his left hand for writing. Now we had to like learn this better. So that's the point. Neuroplasticity. You can increase neuroplasticity by doing things with non-dominant hand. I mean, if you like force yourself for a month to do everything with the left hand, buttons, zipping up, down, opening stuff, touching buttons, and like for that can increase your neuroplasticity, where the brain is getting better at learning new skills. Because it's like the new skill of using the left hand for doing things you can use your right hand for mostly. So anyway, here's the point. After you got the hang the grip drill with the right hand, why don't go to the left hand, and once again you drill it until you can do grip changes one-handed with the non-dominant hand, whatever that is for you. Most people be the left. Until you can do it without looking and unassisted, and part of it obviously without cutting, stabbing yourself as you're doing it. And I like to do this sometimes with like this, and I'm up here, and I'm not poking myself anywhere, slashing myself anywhere, and I go down to the hip, and I can practice from the hip area, do the grip change drill. And notice how at no part of this is I'm cutting my leg or like going here and like stabbing myself. And that's one of the advantages of using a training knife, because as you're starting out, you're not that good, you're more likely to make mistakes wielding a knife starting out. So a stab in the thigh here, you can hit the femoral artery and bleed out very quickly. Okay, very quickly. There's like arteries in your legs that if you like stab them, they're not that far from the skin, and you can really cut, like make you bleed seriously if you poke yourself there or slash yourself. So I recommend using a training knife. If you don't have a training knife, you can even start doing like knife fighting training with a freaking butter knife, which is something that most people, I already told you, is thumbs. You can use your thumbs for shadow boxing and practicing like shadow boxing and stances and like attacking different ways of block or whatever you do moving in now. Just your thumbs. Step above that is having a training knife, okay? And that's safer. I mean, if you would like stand for a mirror and practice like fast shadow boxing and go like like this, and if for some reason like stabbing down at maybe a knee strike or something like this coming at you, like slash your forward, maybe see knee coming up, and you want to like stab it like this. Now you might end up, oh, I just stabbed myself in the right leg. Now this was a training knife, so stab myself in the right leg wasn't that bad, okay? If it would have been an actual knife, it would have been pretty damn bad, okay? So it's good to start practicing with non-fighting knives. They're not sharp and pointy. And most people would have a butter knife at home, which is a knife. And what I mean by butter knife is, okay, not any knife you put a sticker that says butter knife on it. No, but it's like a butter knife, most butter knife be like rounded, like a training knife. It'd be like rounded. It's designed to like children can use it to spread Nutella on the sandwiches without cutting the fingers off or something like this. Like a butter knife is made to be safe to handle. So a butter knife is like rounded and non-sharp, okay? And they had the plastic wood butter knives. Now some of them are kind of pointy, so you could like poke yourself in the eye or something like this. Now, here's the point. A butter knife, okay? Often one that's like wood or metal, but it's blunt and not pointy. You can use that for knife fighting training, like a little butter knife. I want to have that here but anyway, so yeah, I had a butter knife before. So a butter knife, you could use that. You can do grip change drills and practice. And so basically, you get a training knife, grip change drills, learn the 2 basic grips, you can do grip change drills. And then after that, you get into learning different stances, okay? You've learned the grips, fundamentals to the fundamentals. You've done some drilling grip changes, okay? Now you get to stances and guards, stances, aka guards. So, for example, you can practice in front of a mirror, and you have learned both grips. So you have like this grip and then practice. Okay, maybe have it at the hip, and then this up here as a guard, and then practice attacking from here and then going back to the guard again. Then maybe attack in a different way, and then okay, attack to the neck or something like this. Or from this guard you can practice attacking like this, or like this for example, or like this in different ways. So you can start like practicing different positions like guard stances where you stand a certain way holding the knife with one of the grips, and then practice attacking in front of yourself. Okay, and there's different ways to do that, and I can get into that like different ways. I did that earlier, showing like you're stabbing up and this and up to the sides, but basically you can start doing things like this, like for example stand for a mirror, or you stand in a room and you have a training knife at the hip and you practice like stabbing here. Okay, now it gets more complex. You can start out just stab. You can practice, for example, from here with a training knife, practicing slashing in front of yourself like this. One, retract, slashing again, and maybe doing the same technique several times. After you learn one technique, you apply it to impact training. See, and then I impacted my technique, and it's like, okay, I delivered force with this technique to the forehead, and I slashed across the face. And I didn't lose the knife, and I feel like my grip was good enough. See, notice. So this is pretty much if you would be start out practicing like a stance like this, and then attacking in front of yourself in diagonal way to the head. You can drill that at different times, like this, for example, like this, and learn like this one way of attacking, or get better at it. Where it's like from here, see, and attacking here, see, in front of yourself. And it can be here, 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 here. It's like this like diagonal way of attacking can work on a lot of things. So it's like once you got a hang of that, you apply it impact and test it out. And you're actually hitting something. Okay, so you like learned a stance and a way to attack and have been getting better at doing that. Now you can do things like practice at a distance, closing the distance, delivering the same attack, or anything so that you can make it more flowing and non-static. A lot of times starting out to keep things kind of static. So, for example, when I started doing knee strikes, practicing knee strikes, which I quickly got to the point where I could do powerful knees. I did like in the middle of doing like boxing training, like just throw a knee or something. It's like I start out like stand from the dummy, attack with my knee, and then like practice it static, and it's like from here do this, and then later on I can work it into more flowing training. But a lot of times starting out with something, you isolate the one technique and then you can sequence it and build combos and make it more flowing things like this. Like for example, incorporating distance changes moving in and out, incorporating distance level changes and circling and things like this. So get a training knife, grip change drill, and then you can practice, like for example, learn this stance here, practice in knife fighting, shadow boxing first. You can do it slowly if you want to practice attacking like this. You figure out a way where you can tell you got the hang of it, so I got pretty good attacking from here, got pretty good attack from here in this way. After you got the hang of that technique, like attacking with this one technique, kind of like boxing, assume this stance, throw a punch like this, a jab, or everything you're doing. It's the same things, like you learn one technique and get pretty good at it. Whereas like from this stance, attacking like this in front of myself here, here, like slashing across the forehead, it can be to the neck for this. You apply it to impact training. It's like you got the hang of it in shadow boxing, you apply it to impact training. And there's different things that are good for impact training. Some things you can hurt yourself, break fingers, break your wrist if you attack hard and things like that. So it's like you start light with stuff. Okay. So for example, if you're doing this, practicing this, like assuming this stance, and then attacking like this, and I go here, I start light. See, and that's the same technique. I've been drilling and learn how to do like this stance here, holding the knife here, and then attacking to the head with a diagonal slash. Apply it from shadow boxing, learning the technique, like in front of a mirror and just doing it there. You apply it to test it out on impact training. See, and that's pretty much the same technique there, only I'm impacting or something. Now, you can skip impact training for a while if you're honest. Don't think dishonest. Oh, the shit. You have to be in tune with your body and feel Like I can feel if I throw a good punch or not. When I'm training, I can feel that wasn't that good of a punch. Oh, that was a really good punch I just threw. So that if you're in tune with your body and honest with yourself, that will go a long way, okay? We don't need somebody else to tell you if you're being effective or not. If you're intelligent and you have some wisdom and in tune with your body and honest with what you're feeling and seeing and things like this, that will go a long way in terms of improving any skill. See? It's like if I attack like here, oh, that wasn't that good because I hit with the side or something. So I go here and just move. That wasn't that good because I hit with the side or something. Well, let's try the same thing from here. Yeah, that's better. I can feel like, yeah, that would have hurt the person if I connected with that. Okay, now what's, like, do you understand? So it's like that's important at improving skills, to do the honest with yourself. So anyway, it's important and in tune with the reality. Okay, so anyway, it's important. Once again, start going back, like 3 steps forward, 1 step back, and everything like this. So getting better knife fighting is my recommendation. Get a training knife. Most people have a knife usable for training already, like a butter knife. That's not pointy, it's like round, and it's made from plastic or wood, and it's not something that cuts, and it's not something that like breaks the skin, like a butter knife. Then you could use that for the shadow boxing and like grip change drills, things like this. You can get like a professional, well, what's it called, custom, commercial training knife. Okay, so grip change drills, learning the 2 grips, doing some grip change drills is recommendable. It helps you build a skill of handling the knife without inadvertently cutting yourself, without dropping the knife, and it's holding the knife in one hand and changing, moving it around without dropping it, without poking yourself and slashing yourself, which is like a big, it's part of like the thing of moving a knife around your body without poking yourself and like slash yourself. So it's like a good basic. Grips, different grips, learn the grips, do grip change drills, then you can start doing different stances and learning different ways of attacking with the knife. And you can stay static with like one stance in front of the mirror and then attacking in one way and then returning, okay, and then one way and then returning. And you can apply it, test it out with impact training, start light, okay. Now later on you can go from this same stance, you can like keep the same stance and work from one stance only, and then figure out all kinds of ways of attacking from this one stance, and kind of exhaust that until switch to another one. Is one way to train. Like I can just have one stance where it's like I'm keep my elbows to here, and then my fist here, and then my this is done a little bit, and then like this generally. Don't have to get hyper or steep about it. But like just like this stance here, then you practice attack like this, for example, and then return to the guard, and then like this, and then attack like this and return, and then you go, okay, after you got a hang of that, you apply it to impact training, and you feel like it's okay. Now you can practice, well, what's another thing I can do from this stance to guard? Instead of Dagger, I guess I could go 12 to 6, for example, from here. And then notice how this, you can make it more advanced, like different things. Initially, you can just keep it static and mostly focus on the arm movement, okay? But it's like 12 to 6 from here with a training knife, because if you have this, another training knife, you might cut your ear as you're training. You'd be like charge up on it and like, oh, I just sliced my ear off. It was a real knife. But you can make those mistakes initially with a training knife, okay? So here, for example, if you go here, if you'll be going for like from here, and you do something wrong, and you end up cutting yourself here, if it was a real knife. So it's good to have a training knife, okay? So here, for example, you can go, you learn this. What's another thing you can do? That's a more advanced thing, where I'm leaning back and then attacking like this. So it's the more instinctual, natural attack from here is the same side. So if the arm is on the right, attacking from the right is more like intuitive, okay? And like the obvious attack. Now from here, you can also attack like this. See? So it's from the same grip. Now notice how it's more complex, but because it becomes angling the knife here, like from here. See, it becomes turning it and then pushing off, and then maybe I'll do a level change at the same time. So here, for example, see there, and it's the same guard I start from, only I drop down, move back, so I'm doing simultaneously 2 things. a level change and a distance change, which is a defensive move. Which could be attacks to the left side of my head. It could be like here, for example, see, like a certain thing coming. And at the same time, I'm attacking. So here, see, for example, that's a different way to attack from the same guard. It's like here, and I'm attacking my chin even more and moving and then cutting to a high target at the same time. So it's notice how there's so many things you can do from the same guard. So just focus on the same guard and attacking from there. You can figure things out, or learn from somebody else already figured it out. For here, for example, see, from here or here or here. Okay, what can I do? I can attack like this. See, which would be, it can be here, it can be here, it can be here. Okay, like diagonal slash. What's the other thing I can do? Well, I can. This is more advanced. I kind of turn and then like here. Where instead of this, I'm attacking like this. See, to the same target zone. Only instead of attacking here, I'm attacking from the other side, which is more unexpected too. It can be more unexpected. Like if the knife is on the right side, people are expecting intuitively an attack from the right side a lot of times. Or like if you have it here, it's most likely it's expected here. Now this we're gonna give a 360 spin. Now that's more like kung fu movie fighting that you see some people pull off in UFC fights sometimes. It's like spinning shit. Now that's the point, spinning stuff. Now, for example, if it's here or here, it might be more expected anything coming from this side to you than spinning around and cutting here, for example, which a lot of times is not the best move to pull, in my view, but it's something that could be effective. For example, if I'm here, with this reverse grip now, and it's I can attack quickly from this different ways, but I can also go like this, spin around, where I can increase the distance, like here. See, that's more quicker point A to point B, and something that is like most of the time more effective way of attacking, like here, like throwing it forward and punch cutting. See here, like a punch. Now also from here I can go, see, and I'm buying some distance and I'm tornadoing around myself, so it becomes dangerous to pursue me. It's like if I'm moving here, maybe bang, and I got all the way over here now, and I'm ready to attack from this guard, like the hip guard. But I was also dangerous around myself. So there's some techniques that are more likely to be used in a fight than others. And like spinning stuff, a lot of times it's like end stage knife fighting training, and something that it's more useful that you learn basic stuff and not like advanced techniques. Like if for example, it's better to learn a boxing punch that's more important than a spinning back fist. See? So it's like if you're gonna tap the fist, it's like spending more powder, getting good at punching with the arms like conventionally with your knuckles. It's most of the time it's gonna be more useful, like getting good at that than like spinning back fists. Okay. So anyway, support. Get a bad knife fighting, get a training knife, practice grip change drills, learn the two grips, drill grip changes with a training knife, okay? Then you can start getting in front of a mirror or just in a room, have a training knife, practice different stances, attack in those stances, practicing different ways of stabbing and slashing. You can build combos into this. One thing that I like to do, like my knife fighting system, like basically how I train and like teach knife fighting. And you can go, oh, I don't care. Okay, stop watching video now. That's the point. So from here with reverse grip, here, let's go static. So here, what can I do from here? Punch cut his throat. See. So instead of punching normally, I'm punch cutting his throat. Okay. So we're getting into now favorite combos that I've been drilling, simple combos, and it's slash stab, okay, 1-2s. So if I start with this grip, the first attack might be slash, see, okay, and it's very close to throwing a punch in, there. Now, from here, even if it doesn't start off much, if it's like here and it's here, or if it's missing, especially pulls his head back, or I miss, or whatever happens, any way, if I connect this attack, it's likely to slide off to the side, okay? A slash. So, see here, now, the combo is throwing up the slash with a stab, see? And that's like a good all-round combo, like a drilling combo, so it's slash stab. So it's like if the first attack is a slash, I'm drilling muscle memory for throwing up with a stab. And starting out, you can trace the same angle to the same target zone as you start drilling 1-2s. So here, for example, here's the reverse grip, like thumb at the bottom. From here, so you notice how I slash in there, like a punch cutting. I end up to this, I'm not trying to make it go over here. I'm just trying to leave a force to his face, and I end up in this position. Now the drilling is building muscle memory for recovery from awkward position and being dangerous from every position. Because a lot of times if you attack like this, impact or not, it can happen in a fight. If it's a machete or whatever it is, and it's like we're here, and I close the distance and slash like this, for example. Now if you jump or something like this, like still this energy, I'm still like turning my body, I'm ending up in this position more or less, okay? Like here, okay? Even if my body's not turned. If I hit with a slash like this, still it's like slide off and end up kind of over here. It can be here or like more pronounced, my body's turned with it, but it's like slashing. A lot of times you slide off and end up to the side. So it's really muscle memory for what can happen in a real fight. Like attack with a slash, slide off, end up to the side of the head, practicing stabbing to the head, and it's a natural follow-up. So it's not slash to the forehead, slide off and up here, return to the guard, and then go here and stab to the neck, okay? No, it's like I already got in this position from the previous attack, so capitalize on that. So up here, see here, and up here, stabbing, and really muscle memory, 1-2s. It can be 12-6. If the attack is this, see, and now I hit here, slash down. Now notice when my hand ends up, it's down here. And the natural fall from this position is a stab. So from here, 1-2, or 1-2 to the same target zone, where it's like 12-6 slash, followed by 6-12 stab to the same target zone. So initially, drilling these 1-2 slash stabs, you can, to make it simple, you start by drilling the same angle and the same target zone. So it's a 12-6 to the head, followed by a 6-12 stab to the head level. Okay. Now later on you can get into more advanced things. So it's like slash here, stab here, for example. See, or from here slash and then stab to the liver area, like a different target zone. But initially start with 1-2s slash dash combos. I recommend you keep it to the same target zone and trace the same angle. For example, if I start from here, this will be what, 9-3 slash, followed by a 3-9 stab to his neck, see? And then what about this? Okay, 12-6 slash, 6-12 stab, okay? From here, still 9-3, followed by a 3-9 stab to the body. So it's slash, stab, and the same angle, same target zone. Later on, you can start mixing up the combos and have the first attack here, for example, be to the head or neck. 1-2, see, this is a dangerous combo. Reverse grip here, cut his neck. Then it can be here, or the face. See, and 1 slash stab to the body. So 1-2 combos. Like a simple thing, really not getting good at that can make it a lot more dangerous than knife fighting. Because in a fight you might end up like somebody's got the arms up like this and you slash like this, you end up out of position. If you've been practicing slashing, being turned out of position by like sliding off or something like this, or like here, sliding off the torso and up to the side, you've already practiced attacking and hitting where you want to hit from the side, which is what end up happening naturally when I'm trying to. if I'm slashing to the torso from here, just like this across the body, like a lot of times, hit or not, hit or miss, it end up to the side of the body here. Momentum will carry me. And especially like to happen if the person like jumps back or something like this and makes me miss. So it's just air, see, it turns me more out of position and end up to the side. Now what is this? This is chambered, okay? This, I've just like did the prep work. This is a power position that I might assume this if I wanted to deliver like a powerful like stab to your body or something like this. Now, if I go from here, slash, now I have a position here that is a charge up for a stab. So this is a position you will end up in, like slashing this way, end up to the side, and you're practicing stabbing to the other side. Now another thing I've gotten into to talk about is different knife design. So one of the advantages of a dagger as a fighting knife, if it's sharp on both sides, I want demonstrate it to you. It's like a lot of times it's better to demonstrate than to explain. So here's the point. This is a tanto knife. One of the strengths of this design, and I think they have a proprietary like American tanto, this is made to be good at penetrating and having a strong tip. So the design of this knife, called Rico Tanto, it makes it less likely that it's made to be able to stab into bony areas of the body and not have the tip snap off. Or for tool use, possibly in a survival scenario, it's like you stab it into wood and like drilling with it, for example. See, it's like if you need to like drill, make a little hole in wood, it's like you stab it in there and you start like turning it like this to like drill a little notch, a little hole for some reason. Or like prying, which a lot of times you want to avoid it, but it's like there might be a need to like stab into wood board or something like this, and then prying activities. Okay. So it's made to be a tanto, and I can't talk all the time. It's not like if you see this shape in the thumb, it's going to be good. But a lot of times the cold steel tantos are made to be strong, good at penetrating, and also strong. So it's like less likely to bend and snap. Now, so one of the advantages of this is like the regular grip and everything. It's like good all-round knife, fighting tool knife, different things, stabbing. It's like strong for stabbing. It's long enough for blade for like slashing and hacking. Now, one of the advantages with daggers is, notice I added, so now I'm pretending this is a dagger. One of the advantages for fighting with the dagger is, let's say I have a knife here, okay, and okay, this is a knife, right? So here, if I'm going for this, a stab to the neck or the body with this, and it's a fight, so we're not just standing still, but this is practicing for a moment when we are. If I go this and miss it, and that was missing on purpose, see, so if I was intending to stab into his neck, it could be from here, stab to his neck. If I overshoot or he's moving into me or something like this, then I hit with the forearm or the wrist. If this was a dagger, just pulling it straight back, I'm cutting. Whereas with this, I'm only cutting at the front, like the knuckle side, see? I'm only cutting this way. If it's a dagger, if I stab into the body, pulling after I've inserted it, I'm exacerbating the injury. Like stabbing into here, and it's sharp on both sides of the dagger, I've stabbed into your body, pulling on it, especially if it's sharp on both sides. Like I'm stabbing in here, pushing or pulling, I'm exacerbating the injury. I'm cutting, okay? If I miss, like go for a torso, and end up behind like this, just pulling it straight back, simple, I'm cutting, see? So if I try to stab to the liver, miss, end up here. If you drill muscle memory especially, just stab, pull, see? If I end up in the body, see, or behind it, it works like this. Stab, pull, if it's a dagger. So if I stab, miss, and pull, that works because I'm cutting, coming from behind the back and cutting on the way back. Now, if I hit and get into the body, same 1, 2. Stab, pull, I'm cutting on the way out. So if this would be on the inside of the body, and you pull on the handle, it's cutting here. So, like stab, pull, or stab to the neck, and then pull if it's in there. If you stab into the neck and then pulling on it, or if you miss, like you go and for a stab, you miss and go behind a limb or the body. It's very simple. Like miss here to pull and you cut. So I'm cutting, pushing, I'm cutting, pulling. So that's one advantage of a dagger. You're dangerous more ways. If I'm here, slash here, I can't trace the same angle back and cut the same way with a knife like this. So if I want to cut from here, I have to rotate it. Either roll the knife in my hand or like turn my hand to trace the same angle. Like slash, slash. I have to turn it. With a knife, like slash, it's like I can cut on the way back, I can cut forward, I can cut here. If there's something here like a hand coming to grab, I can cut it just by very simple, like turning it. So one advantage with a dagger, a lot of times they're niched into being good at penetrating. Okay, that's like punching, like penetrating. And if they're sharp on both sides, you can be dangerous more ways. It's like I stab to your neck like this, and it's in there, like pulling, I'm cutting. I hit, I miss, you're moving towards me, and I'm launching this like stab, trying to hit you here, let's say, from here, here. And I miss, so I hit behind the neck here. I hit with like a close, I hit with my wrist or my forearm. Now, if I end up here with a limb contact here, and the knife behind, if that's your back, your neck, your arm, anything that I was trying to hit with a stab, and the knife blade is behind me, if I quickly like pull on it, I'm cutting the way back, see? It's like from here, going for stab the neck, miss, it's a dagger, it's sharp on the back, I just cut the back of the neck. Just getting in this position, pulling back, I'm cutting. If there's something here, cut here, I end up here, pull back down, I'm cutting down, okay? So now there's also twice as many ways to get hurt if you like playing around with it, okay? It's like you can slash yourself here and here if you like start you do like shadow boxing in a ridiculous way with an actual knife, and also it's more ways to get hurt. So you want to be careful, and it's recommended you stay training with a training knife of some sort. And I wouldn't say this, like I would never like recommend somebody. I have done some things in my videos. I do shadow boxing with knives, two actual knives I'm pulling sharp, and I'm like moving around this and things like doing fast explosive shadow boxing. Now I wouldn't get like if you get really, I would never recommend that to somebody. See, because I know myself, I know my body, I know I'm a Christian, I know God can protect me, and I know that even if I would end up getting dying, I'll be in heaven. As things like this. So there's certain things that like do as I say, not as I do in general when I talk about certain things. Meaning certain things that I do that I would recommend other people to do. And it's pretty few things, I would say, on the top of my head. Like smoking cigarettes is one of the few things that I do that I would recommend other people to do. And then also what I've done in the past, where I do shadow boxing and I have two actual knives and I'm practicing moving around and stuff like this. This never gets to a point where that's without injury risk, really. Okay. Like a lot of people have had it happen that they're training and it's like whatever. It can be dangerous. Like there's a gentleman I know, a Korean guy that I found, he also does knife fighting, shadow boxing. And it's like, I got hurt from my ass. It's like I got it hurt before when I trained with that. Like, I hope you don't get hurt. It's like, that's all it is. Because it's like he got like real knives slashing trees, like stabbing and things like this. And then sometimes he ends up throwing it at the tree trunk while he's standing close. And now and then when he throws something, it hits wrong and like recoils back. So I've seen it when he trains sometimes. He like stabs it, throws it, it kind of bounces, it ends up. Then it's like I'm surprised, almost surprised he hasn't got it like come back in the video with a cast or something like this. Or it's like, yeah, I can't do the knife for a while now. But it's like, I'm not his father, okay? So he's a grown-ass man. And I'm impressed with his persistence and discipline. And also, I can tell that he's gotten good at like fighting those combos. Not as similar to what I do. They're just combos and slash stabs and different ways. But sometimes looking at his videos, the way he trains, it's like, even I think that it's a little bit risky, okay? With like, he's like full force attack at a tree, and then like throws as the last part of combo. He's finishing, he's like throwing the knife, and like at least once I see it where like it hits and bounces off and comes back towards him again. And things like this, it's very dangerous, okay? But like he's a grown-ass man, I'm not his father, and it's like I can be interested in it, but it's like as a friend I'd be like, hey, I don't like you training this risky, okay? you keep doing it, I don't feel like I feel like soon I'm gonna get hurt. And one time I broke when I saw his training, it looks very dangerous, and I know how dangerous because I'm gonna hurt myself. Oh, and then he goes, I go like, I hope you don't get hurt or something. It's like, well, it's happened a few times, okay. And it's like you could so whatever, yeah. But what, I'm not his father. That's what he wants. But in general, I would recommend people to don't use actual knives in training, especially not starting out. So there's a point where I've been able to do knife fighting, shadow boxing, hard and fast, and impacting with real knives without getting seriously hurt. Okay, it's been petty wounds, like a small cut to your finger, something like this. Um, so apparently, I've been getting to a level I've been able to do that several times, moving fast and impacting without hurting myself. And I'll be unlikely, or well, the average person will be unlikely, like the first I do knife fighting, if they start doing for hard and fast, holding two knives and like stabbing and slashing things, doing impact or like your shadow boxing, they'll be able to do that without cutting themselves, poking themselves, dropping a knife on the foot, or getting hurt somehow. So now, even if you get to a point where I've been able to do it like maybe 100 times without getting hurt, even if you get to that level, it's still not guaranteed to be safe. You can't get hurt if you got it good enough to be able to do it 100 times. No, there's risk. Okay, so don't try it at home. Okay, use training knife. I'm gonna finish up. We'll finish up on a combo. I'm running long battery time, so we'll finish up on some knife fighting, shadow boxing, and we'll go here. So from here, what I really would want to do is stab, or from this position, get in this position, and then here, stab, for example, here, like stab to the groin, stab here, for example. Now, also from here, with this grip, I've used this grip for or this, and I can go slash, stab, and drill back, or here, for example. See, and that's a powerful attack. So I hit him with the punch cut and then connect it with a stab. So here, see, and that's a 1-2 with force now. And you can see what it's doing to the sparring knife. And that's what I would want for sparring. So it's slash and then stab. So that can be a good combo. So here, for example, here, this is a gold target zone if you can get the neck. So if it's here, for example, and this guy doesn't know yet he's in a knife fight, let's say. Okay, that's just sever the windpipe and one of the corollaries. Possibly, here's one of these attacks that sound like a kung fu movie thing, but it's like there's a technique I can show you that if you pull it off once, it's like you can like kill the person one move. Well, yeah, this here. Now, if that was a real knife, it would cut this corollary, the windpipe, the other corollary with the same attack, a sharp blade, same force, same attack, hit here, you have a chance to sever the windpipe, both corollaries, and possibly nick nerve, like get all the way to the spine. If the blade is sharp enough and your attack and your whip is sharp enough. So this one is attacks, but like here, especially from the side, a punch cut. When I'm coming in here, like a hook punch, see, and now it's just sliding because it's slippery and not sharp. But if you think this was a real knife, a sharp knife, and I attack here, and I have a lot of energy, good grip, this will cut the corollary on that side. Here's a windpipe, slides through, and it can cut the second corollary with the same technique. So this one is like one move that if you pull it off, it could, like this guy's a dead man walking. I just remember how long. He's not going to come back from this. But here, see here. Now it's just sliding now, but it's not penetrating because it's a training knife. But if you hit with one of these here, punch cut, even if I hit it the front as I'm penetrating, it can reach the corollary here and slide, and then get the second corollary. And possibly I can get so hard that I nick the bone at the side. If it's a good grip, sharp knife, hard attack, like this, and that's one of these things that can create like a really bad wound. Okay, and we practice that. Now this is started. I'm gonna have to clean this again because I've been open this up. So here, there's a punch cut as I talked about before from this grip here. here. Now it's split off, it hit here, split off. From here, here. You can mix it up too, use boxing techniques. Now from here, you can go there, here, as a start from here. I can go here, turn around and go here too. We'll just do a few light attacks now. And if this was a knife, you can imagine that it's cutting and slicing, and it would be more likely to start off to the side. But right now it's more pushing. See here. See? Bang, bang, here, back here. From here to slash here, slide down, stab to the liver. Or with this grip here. And you can attack all kinds of ways. So, don't be surprised if you're interested in martial arts in general, knife fighting martial arts, to see more knife content in the future. Training knives, training with knives, talking knives. Yes, it is. I'm gonna finish up. Yeah. I'd like to get a training knife. I might order one of these days. Like sometimes it's like 6 months of me going, maybe I should, you know what, I might buy one of these. It's like, it could be like 6 months of on and off. You know what, I think I might buy one of these days. And it could be like after 6 months, it is that day, okay? One of these days, it hits that day, and I order it. So anyway, possibly I'll look for a better training knife for solo impactor. And this is still good for sparring, but for impactor like this, it's better to have a hard but kind of slippery training knife. Possibly wood, polished wood might be good. Like a bokken, only downside, like a tanto bokken type thing. There's like polished and a little bit slippery. That might be perfect for this, like a wood bokken tanto, quote unquote, that I could use to like slide off and stab with it, not too hard. Even a wood thing that's designed to not be a weapon. If you hit this hard enough, so it's sparse, it can create a puncture wound. It can break through and get in there. So anyway, so I'm gonna finish up. Finishing off legs. And part of why I like to do the flexion on the live stream. Is I can go back. I use most of the time when I pick a thumbnail for a stream. Like after I'm done, we're not gonna change things. I go look and scan through the live stream. I find a moment to make for a good thumbnail, pause, screenshot, and then change the thumbnail of the live stream to the screenshot. So that right there, it's like a good thumbnail stands out and draws viewers' attention. And I think this a guy who's got a physique that only 1 in 10,000 men have, like a Rick with a six-pack physique. I think that stands out, and it's something that's positive that evokes attention, like grabbing. I mean, it's like it's looking. It's not like, wow, this guy's really out of shape, 600 pounds in a wheelchair or something like this. Okay, no, but it's like Rick with a six-pack. That's rare value, and it stands out, and it's something that people notice. Like if you're in really good shape, and you pick that in the thumbnail. So that's YouTube actually tells that if you're not a YouTube producer yourself, as you go like the backstage, the studio, whatever, and it's like you go to change the content. One of the things you can go like click edit video, is like change thumbnail, and it'll be like auto selected where YouTube more or less randomly picks a moment from your live stream as a thumbnail. Or you can go like, you can change your own thumbnail, and YouTube tells you, like when you're gonna click change thumbnail, a good thumbnail stands out and draws viewers' attention. So it's like, oh yeah. So whatever, that's part of it. No AI, no filters. it's real time in a live stream with good lighting, flexing, and this will make for a great thumbnail. Now, especially if you include an object that's more like specific to this live stream, where it's knife fighting. So like holding this training knife, for example, while flexing might be an even better thing. Like here with the 6-pack, okay, and upgraded with a knife too, so it's even more okay, it's a 6-pack and a knife in the same thumbnail, and that's kind of that's both rare, and it's something that's like a little bit out there. Yeah, now it's a training knife. Maybe I had to put like a edit and put the text training knife, superimpose it to the knife to make sure people get it's a training knife. Okay, so what I support, it's like basically being a gun tuber or knife tuber on YouTube. It's not one of the niches that YouTube rewards. It's more like if you're, I feel like if you like, oh, I'm not getting into, but you have an easier time doing on YouTube. But it's like knife tubers, gun, anything about self-defense and weapons on YouTube, the algorithm will kind of punish that. Whereas like if this would be, I don't know, a video where my channel is based off of whatever, gay pride or something like this, I feel like that would be get more views and goals and not be as punished by the YouTube algorithm than if it's like I'm a Christian man making videos about knife fighting, martial arts, something like this. That might be like we don't like this stuff. I'm not joking. I've seen other people. Mr. Gansinger went to Rumble, and he was got too big for the YouTube overlords. Like this guy's getting too big. It's like 4-second amendment, whatever Daniels is. They made him get on the bad side. And I remember he would be like, YouTube is like, people are not, my subscribers aren't getting notifications when I upload something for a while. And then I see he went to Rumble. And he might still be on YouTube. I remember him talk about being shadow banned. So it's not, I'm not the only one saying that YouTube will make like punish certain type of content. So I believe that if I was a gay pride champion out here and making videos about guns are evil. So if I was gay pride LGBT, I'm like a gay person and I'm making videos about guns are evil. I feel like I'd be having an easier time growing on YouTube than if I'm a Christian straight man making videos about weapons are great to have, okay? See? And that's not me making like saying it's bad to be gay or anti-guns. I'm for freedom of beliefs, okay? So you can believe what you want to believe. Now here's the point. This is certain things. Like if you're also like pro-global warming, like Greta Thunberg, more likely to make it easy to go on YouTube than if like global warming is a scam, and that's what you believe. So whatever, we're not going to get into that. I am, however, a straight Christian man, and I've had people before come to my channel and tell me, Mike, it's like bad violence. It's like, no. God is for self-defense. God is for home defense, counter-defense, and self-defense. Simply. So God is for the sovereignty of nations. The countries have the right to have an army to defend themselves as people come to do harm to them, like unjustified aggression. But they're just coming here to attack them. God is for individuals and nations being able to defend themselves. So I'm gonna finish up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see future content, whatever that may be. And this is the type of content I end up doing, pretty much this training live in my kitchen. If that's knife fighting or martial arts or something else. Talk about knives and weapons and things like this. So that's going to be the end of the live stream. First we'll show you. This was what I started out using as a training knife. Like a Timu hammer that I bought, can I say goof? It's like mini hammer, okay? And it's like 99% plastic and a metal tip. And I found what its limits was. Now it's not designed for hammering nails. I guess it's designed for like minor work, like something that you don't want to hit too hard, but you want to have some precision maybe. Where it's like tap, like maybe if you have like a wood plug, you drill the hole and you're gonna tap in a wood plug in there, like some glue in there and a tab. They could be used for that. Okay, now here's the point. Here, I'll show you this too. So here's the cold steel recon 10 to actual knife. This is the training knife. This is the Fiskars K40 utility knife. And this is the Mora kniv Probo Bust. And it's been rusted, okay? It's rusted. It's like the video gamers now, they get skins for the weapons. This is the rust skins is unique. It's a unique skin for this blade. There's no other, like you get one at home, you let it rust, it's not gonna have exact the same rust pattern. So this has got a new skin, see? It's got a rust skin. I see this like CS Counter-Strike players, they have like a unique skins and things like this. So whatever. Here are similar knives, budget utility knives. This is it's better at more things. So this is more outdoor survival, hunting, and it's better as a weapon. It's better as a knife, bring it to the woods or something like this. Last time I went to the woods, I didn't bring any knives. So it's kind of more like primal survival stuff. It's like if you need to chop something, use a sharp rock or something. Now here's the point. This would be better if I could only bring, if I go camping and I decide to bring a knife next time I go camping. This would be better if I'm gonna bring only one, see? Because you can do more things with this. You could chop wood with this. You could use this to chop it in and use another piece of wood to baton it. Like to hit the blade, and like you can chop wood with it. It's better for chopping off branch if you need to do that. It's just better as an outdoors knife. Now it's heavier, so if you like really focus on weight, this is very light, okay? So this is the lightest of all of these knives, the Fiskars K40, I think it's called. Yeah, it's the lightest one. And it's stainless. So it's like, I like all these. I like this one. What I don't like about this is that it rusts, okay? What I like about this, one of the things, it doesn't rust. And it's very light, okay? Which in some situations can be very good, it's light. What I like about this, it's durable. And it's good at survival stuff and weapons. And it's better for a weapon knife, stabbing things. It's better for chopping things. So this can do the same thing that this knife could do. Like if you bring these two clamps or something like this, I need to cut a string, open a pack of sausages. You can do it with this. What about sharpening a stick for like grilling a hot dog on? Well, I can sharpen a small stick with this. Okay. Now, this knife, Recon, it can do all of that, see? It can open a package of sausages. It can sharpen a small stick. But it's better at if there's like a thick branch of a tree that I want to chop off or something like this. Or split a piece of wood, like let's say you have a board and you're going to split it into several pieces to start a fire, use kindling. And it's easy to get a fire going if you take one piece of wood and divide it into like 20 pieces of wood. So for example, if I have a board and I want to use it to start a fire and I have like a lighter in one corner, it's like, yeah, I keep that there long enough and I don't burn myself, the light doesn't melt. It's like eventually the corners caught fire and it's spreading, okay. Now, easier to make it catch fire is I take the board, cut it, split it into at least 10 pieces, and then put them together, and it's easier to make this catch fire, okay? So for something like that, using a wood board and chopping, you could like chop it, like use it more like an axe, and this wouldn't be as good at that, see? It doesn't have a lot of heft, weight, or length of blade for like hacking with it. So this you'd be like more forced to like put it here, hit it with something else, and then hope it doesn't bend or something like this, because this is meant for like lighter work. Like it's not a bad knife, but that's a better woods knife, because it's something I have this knife with me in my back or whatever. I can do all kinds of stuff. I can do what this can do in terms of opening packages and sharpening small sticks with that one. But I can also do things that this doesn't really do well. Like if I want to chop down a small tree for some reason, needed to. Like chop down a small tree with this, it's a lot easier to do than with this. due to what? Part of it is the lack of weight, like heft, okay? Like it's lighter. And also the length of blade. So two factors to make a difference in like hacking is length of blade and weight, okay? So like the weight of the blade and the length of the blade makes a big difference if you're chopping something. So with this, if you chop it with it like this, it is more weight, but I don't have to get into this. So we're gonna finish up now. Here's a entree, okay? Here's a all you can eat buffet of knives, okay? We have here's the main course or something like this, the aperitif. Here's the rusty. Here's the cold steel. Different stroke for different folks. So I'll have to remember if I would end up buying another one of these Mura Pro Robust, that I had to keep it old and like not put it back in the sheet yet, okay? Or it will rust, which I discovered like the hard way. So, so it depends what type of knife. If you want a knife for, it's like, are you gonna carry it in your pocket or hanging off your belt? It depends on like what you're gonna do with it. What you're gonna do with it, how you're gonna carry it, and that kind of preferences. So that cold steel recontented wouldn't be good as a boot knife, really. It's like it's better knife to keep if you want to be beat, because it's kind of heavy, and having the handle is a 4 pound, and it moves around and around, and it becomes like walking with like it kind of can limit range of motion, it can make it hard to run with it. If you would want to have a knife in your boot, you would want a smaller knife, typically, if you want to have a knife in your boot. Why? Because why have a knife in the boot that makes it worse at running? But if you need to run, and makes it harder for you to kick, for example. That's actually really productive to do. So like jump over something. It depends on what makes a good knife is not just like, there's some general things and then there's some specific. It's like what for if you're gonna carry it in the pocket, I want a knife to carry in my pocket. I want a knife to carry in my boot. It's like, okay, there's like limits down to these type of knives I'm gonna fit for that. Then if you like want a knife to be in the woods and being only one knife, you want to do more things with it. Use it kind of like an axe. Use it like a smaller knife. This is a different type of knife. Also. Now, one of the best knives. I'll save some for another time. I like knives. And if I had more money, I might have become a collector at this point. It's like the collecting now is, it's like this. I think I bought on a sale where it was like 12 or 15 bucks or something like this, and I bought several. Why? Because you use them for knife fighting. Wood bore stabs. One of the weaknesses is the tip, where the Fiscus K40, if you try to squeeze it, if you try to use it for as a weapon knife, stabbing into wood, an analog for bone. So like this, it's like it ended up like stabbed repeatedly. It's like, oh, the tip is either snapped off on one of them or bent, okay. And then it's like, well, I kind of like to have the knife because it's so light to have in my pocket and like opening packages and sausages and even for cooking and things like this. It's a very light knife that if I need to open a package or like cut some onions or whatever, it's light and it's stainless and things like this. So it's not hard to lug around, and I can carry it in most things. So if I'm walking around now with sweatpants, like I have in the sweatpant pocket, and like I'm gonna cook, I get it out there, I can start cooking with it. So that's more like a home utility knife for opening boxes, packages, cutting string, and I think that could be used as a weapon knife. Whereas this is more like if I would pick a knife for a knife fight, this is more like the type of knife I would pick. Whereas this is more like a all-round utility knife that could be used as a weapon knife, but it has some weaknesses. Because, and that's not a critique for Fiskars, because they didn't design this as Cold Steel designs the knife to be a fighting knife. They didn't design this for stabbing bone with it. It's like they designed it for, typically, like most use would be like a stick that you're shaving, cutting like this. See, that most initial to that, like shaving wood, okay, like cutting wood like this, or a packet, something like this, or whatever. It more that type of stuff, and not for stabbing with the tip. That's not what it's designed for. It's designed for cutting with the edge, and not designed for stabbing with the edge, basically. Okay, which is why it's in there at the tip, and it's so basically I bought a few of these. It's like I'll show you one of them. See, here's a past one. See, so here's a previous Fiskars K40. Then most likely after, I think this might have been when I had the bed, I was practicing slash, stab, like under a bed you had wood boards, and stabbing and slashing things like this, like stab, and then maybe pull it like this, or lots of this, and end up it snapped off most likely. And at least one of them, I remember it was bent at the tip, and I was like getting on something, like trying to bang it back to make it straighter. So this is not that good as a weapon knife. And one of the things is the tip, is the weak point. That's one of the limiting things to make it not very good for a weapon knife, because stabs are important if you're going to be fighting with a knife, and you want to be able to stab repeatedly. And if you stab once and hit like something, that could be a leather belt or a leather, some kind of a keychain, or a light in the guy's pocket, or a bone, and if it snaps off, it's a blade that can't snap off, not that kind of easily. It's like you get one stab, and now it becomes really a lot worse at penetrating after that. See, even like clothes, like a stab, it can be like, oh, it didn't get through real. Okay, so a good strong tip. So yeah, basically, I don't have like a big collection of knives. It's like I have a few ones that have broken, and this is like less than $20. This knife, like 150 crowns or something, around $15. One of these, and I have one that's okay, and I bought maybe 4 in total. This is another knife that I have, and I bought it on Temu, so I suspected possibly it was a knockoff, because the sheet that it came with has like a compass on it and a fire steel, which I'm not complaining about. Now, I did like dismount that on my sheet, like remove the fire steel. I don't think I've seen the cold steel be marketed on YouTube when I search cold steel. I've never seen another person have like this sheet where it has like a compass and fire seal on it. I think it could be like a knockoff. Okay, but this could be a knockoff cold steel. I would most likely bet that it was. But I bought it because I saw on the team cold steel with content on the box, the market, everything looked like real cold steel. And one of the things after the rise is like it has this sheet. There's like a survival sheet that I don't think the real cold steel knife has, possibly. So anyway, it's not going to be as high quality most likely if it's knockoff as the original. But sometimes even if the original is high quality enough, even a knockoff can be pretty good quality. It depends on how hard they're trying to copy. Okay, do you understand? It's like, oh, we've used the same dimensions and shape, but less quality steel. So kind of steel that we have in bulk in China